Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Getting off the sideline.
Morning. The PLP wants a probe into water and sewage contract awards. Leader Davis finding the matter deeply concerning involving Adrian Gibson. We take a closer look at the national examination results from the last school year. And in our interview today, we are talking with St. Barnabas candidate and former Minister of Finance, Michael Halkitis. It's all straight ahead this morning. I'm Dwight Strachan, and this is Morning Blend.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's there. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Good morning again, Bahamas. It is Tuesday, August 31st. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Again, I'm Dwight Strachan. In a moment, Chester Robards will be here, filling in for Don Sargent, who's on vacation. And we'll continue with our look at politics this morning into Morning Blend Business, a look at what we are seeing so far from the various parties on their economic development plans. But first, it's time for the overnight, the latest breaking news from while we're sleeping, and the top national and international headlines this morning. Philip Davis calling on the Attorney General and Commissioner of Police to immediately launch an investigation after Water and Sewage Corporation documents were revealed ensnaring the F&M's Long Island candidate, Adrian Gibson, in controversy. Though he released a statement on Sunday, Gibson has failed to address key questions connected to the award of water and sewage contracts. Leaked documents show that the company, whose director has the same name as his fiancée, was awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in contracts by the corporation, while Gibson denied that he has any beneficial interest or any other interest in the company. Elite Maintenance Incorporated Limited. He did not say whether his fiancée. Police report last October as Alexandra Mackey was the same Alexandra Mackey listed as the director of Elite. NASA Guardian contacted Mackey, who was listed as the director in the leaked documents. She said before hanging up the phone, quote, "We have nothing to say at this time." Now, Davis, a former Minister of Public Works, says the allegations are, quote, "extremely serious and deeply concerning." He said, quote, the Attorney General and the Commissioner of Police must both uphold their statutory duties and instruct the Anti-Corruption Unit at the Royal Bahamas Police Force to launch an investigation immediately. Meanwhile, the PLP's candidate for Freetown-Wayne Monroe, QC, says the response to the allegations by the General Manager, Elwood Donaldson, and Gibson were not sufficient. Monroe said Gibson should resign from Water and Sewerage Corporation immediately. As he said, the questions were not answered. He also said Prime Minister Minnis should have immediately stepped in and dealt with the matter. In the last 2 years, the Disaster Reconstruction Authority has spent more than $43.6 million on Project Dorian. That's according to project data from the authority. The authority spent more than $14 million on its small home repair project, more than $5 million on Abaco, and more than $8 million on Grand Bahama. The project has assisted more than 2,600 homeowners whose homes were damaged by the monster Category 5 storm on 2 islands in September 2019. The final stage of the project will be coming to completion within 6 months. An additional $9 million was spent on debris management sites in Treasure Key and Spring City. Operations are expected to continue with sorting and processing at those sites within 6 months. The government is spending more than $187,000 per month at the debris management site in Green Turtle Key. As of August 27th, more than $524,000 was spent on the project, which was launched in May of this year. And despite the COVID-19 pandemic and challenges with virtual learning, national examination results have improved compared to the previous year. That's according to the Ministry of Education, who discussed the matter yesterday. The pass rate, though, remains low, and fewer students sat the BJC and BGCSE exams. Overseas, the Taliban today triumphantly marching into Kabul's international airport hours after the final U.S. troop withdrawal that ended America's longest war. Standing on the tarmac, Taliban leaders pledged to secure the country, quickly reopen the airport, and grant amnesty to former opponents. In a show of control, turbaned Taliban leaders were flanked by the insurgents' elite battery unit as they walked across. The commandos in camouflage uniforms proudly posed for photos. Getting the airport running again is just one of the sizable challenges the Taliban face in governing a nation of 38 million people that for 2 decades had survived on billions of dollars in foreign aid. One top Taliban official proclaiming, quote, Afghanistan is finally free, telling the Associated Press, quote, the military and civilian side of the airport are with us and are in control. Hopefully we will be announcing our cabinet. Everything is peaceful. Everything is safe. Just hours earlier, the U.S. military had wrapped up its largest airlift of non-combatants in history. Tuesday morning, signs of the chaos of recent days were still visible in the terminal. Rifled luggage and clothes were strewn across the ground, alongside wads of documents. Vehicles carrying the Taliban raced back and forth along the airport's sole runway on the military side of the airfield before heavily armed Taliban fighters walked through hangars, passing some of the 7 CH-46 helicopters the State Department used in evacuations before rendering them unusable. Jonquil, J.J. Jones, and the Connecticut Sun are poised to wrap up the top seed in the women's NBA and secure a home court advantage through the playoffs. In the midst of that, the Bahamian Star is having one of her finest seasons in the league, putting up MVP numbers across the board and developing into arguably the most dominant player in the league. Jones is top 5 in the league in a number of offensive stats, including scoring, rebounding, and fantasy points per game, leading the Sun to the league's best record, 20-6. One game ahead of the second-place Las Vegas Aces, who they have swept in 3 games this year. The Sun has won 8 in a row and has already clinched a playoff spot. They have 6 games remaining on the schedule, and just one is against a club with a winning record, the Phoenix Mercury, who they have already beaten twice this year. And it's been a hard-working season for both Shauna Miller-Weibo and Stephen Gardner, and both are content to shut their seasons down and enjoy a much-needed vacation. Miller-Weibo saying as much in an interview when she returned to the Bahamas, choosing not to go after a 4th straight Diamond League title in the women's 200 meters. And Gardner confirmed his plans on social media after also speaking on the matter when he returned home. The Bahamas' world and Olympic champion saying on Facebook about his year. You can read all about it in today's Guardian Sports section. And from tennis, the U.S. Open underway. Full-throated shouts and hearty applause returning to the U.S. Open tennis tournament Monday. Bursts of sound that offered some form of reaction to nearly each and every action. After spectators were banned entirely from Flushing Meadows because of the coronavirus pandemic. College football also resumed on Saturday with tens of thousands on hand for such matchups as Illinois versus Nebraska or Hawaii versus UCLA. The NFL is letting its team sell every ticket for the regular season. Its first Sunday is September 12th. Everyone's keeping their fingers crossed that this will turn out well for sports. That's sports for now, and that's the overnight. It's time now for a first look at weather. The weather for today, we've got weak high pressure across the area. That's going to result in light to gentle winds across the islands today. Boaters should be alert due to possible waterspout and or funnel cloud activity, and residents are strongly urged to limit outdoor activity and to remain hydrated as heat indices expected to be in the triple digits again today. For all areas, we're looking at partly sunny and hot conditions with a few widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, turning fair and warm tonight with a chance of a few passing showers and isolated thunderstorms. Look for gusty winds and higher seas in showers and thunderstorms. Winds variable at 5 to 10 knots, seas 3 feet or less. Temperature-wise today, look for highs getting up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius, but the heat index will make it feel like 105 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 74 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. That's your first look at weather this morning. We'll have your extended outlook coming up after traffic in just a bit.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
You are listening to Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. When we come back, we're discussing the day's top stories right here on your home for fresh news and smart talk all day. Guardian Radio 96.9.
It's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
The PLP is hosting an economic summit where financial leaders share ideas and plans for transforming the Bahamian economy. Speakers will discuss the PLP's economic plan, a new blueprint to create a Bahamian economy that works for everyone. Discussions include opportunities in high-tech, renewable energy, and training for entrepreneurs. Go to plpeconomicsummit.com and learn how you can be part of a new Bahamian economy.
This has been a paid political announcement by the PLP.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No company has helped more businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
COVID-19. Do not panic. Be prepared. Some persons may get worried and feel stressed whenever there's an outbreak of diseases like COVID-19. Do not panic. It is better to be informed and prepared. Talk to a healthcare professional about your concerns. Make a plan for how you will keep your home and workspace clean and disinfected. Preventative actions such as proper hand washing and coughing and sneezing etiquette. Stay informed about local COVID-19 updates from trusted and reliable sources.
This message brought to you by Bahamas Ministry of Health in conjunction with Guardian Radio.
This week, the FNM is Rolling Red in Nassau. Drive up to the Rolling Red Candidate Launch and Rally this Wednesday, the 1st of September at the Carnival Grounds, QE Sports Center, 6 to 8 p.m. It's a drive-in rally, y'all, so stay in your cars and trucks. Live entertainment featuring KB, Sammy Starr, Synovia Pierre, and DJ Tang. COVID protocols will be observed. Join the FNM this Wednesday, and let's roll red.
Coming back with the dog, yeah.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of a new way. You know that it's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. 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 Wake up, wake up.
Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us on the Guardian Radio text line powered by BTC 422-4796. We'll give you the phone numbers to call in just a bit. Once again, I'm Dwight Strachan. Joining us, Chester Robards. He's here filling in for Don Sargent, who is enjoying his vacation and should be back soon. Chester Robards, good morning. Great to have you with us.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Oh, you sound very excited. We appreciate you. This morning. All right. So we have a lot to talk about this morning. A lot in the news, and also coming up, we are going to be talking with Michael Halkitis, former Minister for Finance, and he is running for St. Barnabas for the PLP. He'll be here with us. A lot to talk to him about COVID and the economy. And that's going to lead us into Morning Blend business, as well as we take a look and discuss, get your views on what the various, so many parties, oh boy, what they're saying about the economy. Is it anybody with any real anything tangible that you can put your hands on, that you can really say, yeah, that's an interesting plan? Or is it just the usual talk, rhetoric? We'll get into that a little bit later. So a lot to get to, but let's begin with what else is in the news. And in the news, quite a bit to talk about, as we said. The Minister of Education having a press conference yesterday talking about the national exam results. We'll get to that in just a bit. Just want to talk about the lead story in the Nassau Guardian today. And this goes into what we were talking about yesterday on the show, what a lot of people are talking about, what's going on at the Water and Sewage Corporation. The headline, PLP wants probe into WSC contract awards. Davis finds matter deeply concerning. Our Travis Cartwright Carroll writing about this. PLP leader Philip Brave Davis calling on the Attorney General Police to immediately launch an investigation after Water and Sewage Corporation documents revealing have been revealed in ensnaring the F&M's Long Island candidate Adrian Gibson in controversy. Though he released a statement on Sunday, Gibson has failed to address key questions connected to the award of the contracts. Leaked documents show that the company, whose director has the same name as his fiancée, was awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in contracts by the corporation. Gibson has denied that he has any beneficial interest or any other interest in the company called Elite Maintenance Incorporated Limited. But he did not say whether his fiancée, whom he identified in a police report last October as Alexandria Mackey, was the same Alexandria Mackey listed as the director of Elite. Now, the Nassau Guardian contacted Mackey, who was listed as the director of Elite Maintenance in the leaked documents. And before hanging up the phone yesterday, she said, quote, "We have nothing to say at this time." Now back to Philip Davis. He, as a former Minister of Public Works, says that the allegations are extremely serious and deeply concerning. He said, quote, "The Attorney General and the Commissioner of Police must both uphold their statutory duties and instruct the Anti-Corruption Unit at the Royal Bahamas Police Force to launch an investigation immediately." The PLP's candidate for Freetown, Wayne Monroe, QC, said the response to the allegations by the corporation's general manager, Elwood Donaldson, and by Gibson were not sufficient. Monroe says Gibson should resign immediately. He said yesterday, quote, "The questions were raised and not answered." And he said the Prime Minister should have stepped in and dealt with this matter. Realistically, this is a quote, is that going to happen before we know the results of the general election? No, before September 16th. Monroe also said, quote, "When the results of the general election are known, certainly a PLP government will ensure that the police does its job impartially and will leave them alone to do their job impartially." He's also calling on the beneficial owners of Elite Maintenance to provide full disclosure about the company and its dealings with the corporation. Now, if you weren't paying attention to all of this, the documents were shared with the media on Friday and showed that Elite Maintenance was awarded 2 contracts from the corporation, one in 2018 and one in 2020. In an October 2018 MOU, Memorandum of Understanding, Alexandria Mackey of Elite is listed as the contractor. Elite was awarded a $4,700 per month contract for yard cleaning and grounds maintenance services for 13 WSC pumping stations on New Providence. The second contract, June 23rd, 2020, shows that Elite and 2 other companies were each awarded contracts of $263,200 for the refurbishment of the Blue Hill Low-Level Tank Number 1. In a statement on Sunday night, Gibson denied any wrongdoing. He referred to Mackey as the attorney, stating that she provided corporate services to act as subscribers or nominee shareholders to form the company as is legally required. Gibson says he was advised that she was authorized to sign on their behalf. Now, neither Prime Minister Minnis nor Minister of Works Desmond Bannister, who has ministerial responsibility for the corporation, has addressed the controversy at all so far. All right, so what do we make of one right here, right now, right before the election? Let's get into it. Give us your views. Call us 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796.
It sounds very familiar.
doesn't it?
Company setup and everything. Sounds very familiar.
We go through this every few months, it seems.
Isn't it the same thing that Gibson accused Brave Davis of doing? Setting up a company with his own employees, or his own employee was on the company setup for that controversial, what was it, some kind of water management station or something that never materialized.
Yeah.
Gibson made a big hullabaloo about it in the House of Assembly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Always the same stuff. All right. We've got some calls. We've got some messages. Let's go to the calls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hey, good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
And good morning, Stephen. I mean,
Chester.
Chester, sorry.
Chester, yes.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. It does sound like it's like that's the best word, because, you know, it is familiar because, again, we hear this, we see the same type of governance in this country by this administration, right? And if over the last 30 years, when you see an election is called, right? This period, or the period between the election is called until election, is when, you know, in my view, a lot of skullduggery does go on. Because most of the times these guys, they really know. I mean, despite that, you know, these contracts were given one in last year and one in this year, right? But we would be surprised to know the amount of contracts that are being given out on a daily basis in this country, right? Because right now, because, you know, it's a culture. It's the culture of the Bahamas, and I believe, to be corrupt, and I believe that's why we need to change this culture. And the only way we can change the culture, that's like what I keep saying every day, right? We cannot support these two administrations in this Bahamas. We really do need a new day Bahamas. We truly need to protect our future Bahamas. But we could never do it with the Progressive Liberal Party and the Free National Movement, because what's the sense when the PLP in power, they don't do nothing but the corruption, freedom of information, trying to protect the sovereignty of the Bahamas and the democracy of the Bahamas, and then we vote in there for them and they do the same thing. You know, we are not winning. We are continuing to lose as a people, and I really and truly hope and pray that September 2016, it really becomes a new day. But we need new people for a new day, right? Like when a new baby was born, we need a new day. We don't need no old walking around with no new name on there. We need a new day, a new baby. You guys have a nice day.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, we're hearing parties pop up out of thin air. New ones. Anyway, I don't know what's happening, but I think we went through this also last time. But that's just the frustration, the desperation. The people just feel exhausted. This seesawing back and forth, searching for the answers. But hey, it's rough. It's rough. Colin, 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Text us, tweet us, Facebook. All right, here's some of your text messages. Someone says there were mistakes. He knew nothing about millions of dollars of contracts that were signed under his ministry. Plus, he turned a blind eye to corruption and conflict of interest among his cabinet colleagues. Now he has the nerve. And the gall to speak on this matter.
Well, I don't claim to know specifically how procurement rules work, but let's say there was there was a RFP put out or whatnot. I mean, does her being whatever a signatory on a company preclude that company from winning the contract?
Okay. And they did say that they went with some of the lowest bidders, like a few companies, right? That was what was explained.
Am I lost there?
I said they did explain that they went with lowest bids. It was recommended there. So yeah, this comes up a lot, especially in a small country like this, right?
Right.
That sometimes you just can't avoid it. But you know, you're supposed to be more transparent about it, right? So just so
absolutely
clear it, like just so you know, just so everybody knows, this company, this is the right, this is the my relative or whatever is involved in that. Of course, that did not sway the decision here, and I wasn't directly involved in any of this decision making. Those things are supposed to be stated clearly, and
well, I wonder if they have to fill out KYC forms with that. What is it? There's a section that politically exposed person.
Yeah.
Are you a PIP?
Yeah. But well, you got to say it even if they're not asked.
Yeah.
Right. And make sure everybody knows. And when people ask you about it, don't get defensive.
That's the problem in this country.
Right.
People start to lose their minds when you start asking questions.
Right. And it's going to happen. And we have to be mature enough to understand that it's going to happen because, again, we are really tiny. It's very hard to avoid being related to people. And but don't get defensive and don't get silly. That's when it looks like something suspicious has happened. And you're just feeding into what's going on. I don't know what's happened in this situation at all, but I'm just saying it keeps happening because we keep handling it the same way. And it's really unfortunate. Really unfortunate. But of course, we know that in the past it's been intentional. It's happened because that's what people wanted to do. And that's what people have gone into certain professions and positions so they could intentionally do these things because it is quite profitable. But yeah, it's not going to get us anywhere if we don't be upfront and honest about it. Not at all. Continue to text us 422-4796, and we will see. We were waiting to see. People were talking about this last week. I assume they're back at work. There wasn't much fanfare, but when the healthcare workers were doing their sick out, and we didn't hear anything from the Prime Minister on it, and this is being said again. We haven't heard anything from the Prime Minister so far on this matter. We're not hearing from the minister in this matter. And I think the same thing was happening with the healthcare workers last week when reporters were asking the Minister of Health. I think he made his initial statement when he was asked about it again. A couple of days later, as the sick out was dragging on, it was already made my statement and walking off. And I know about the same thing over and over. I certainly am. But it just seems insensitive when we pay you to do that. And you don't have the time to talk about it. No? And again, nobody's learning. We've been dealing with this for decades, and everybody just runs away and says weird things. Oh boy. Okay. All right. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So that's what's going on. Again, you can continue to call in, and we've got another one right now. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Mr. Strachan.
Hello. Yes. Is he there? No? Okay. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4. All right. This text here. The procurement bill proposed that died on the table this legislative session would have been a substantial bill to curb corrupt behavior. As a nation, we ought to insist that this bill see the light of day the next legislative session. Otherwise, when goods and services are procured corruptly, the taxpayers always pick up the tab. It's hurtful. It's hurtful. Another one. Where was Wayne Monroe during the corruption and conflicts of interest under the last PLP administration? Okay. Hey, man, we can't continue to ask those questions. People are here now. This is what they're doing, and hopefully they will always be doing this going forward. Always going forward. All right. Another one here. Dwight Chester's response to the allegations by Gibson. And if he does not say more, his nomination should be rescinded immediately. Peter Turnquist resigned for the allegations made against him for funds that had nothing to do with the public purse. The Prime Minister is silent, and the Minister of Works, who has oversight of the Water and Sewage Corporation, has also stayed silent. This one says here, you see the corruption, and yet you guys vote PLP, F&M. Don't rationalize the corruption. Vote third party. It's a text. Okay. Because they haven't had a chance to do it yet? Yes. Okay. Because they haven't done it yet. Yes, that's it. Another one. Don't forget the post office contract. The Prime Minister will not address that. All right. Got another call. Good morning, caller on the air.
When you and your guest.
Good morning.
Good morning, Obama. Dwight, do you think it's fair, as you your text just said what I was about to say just now, do you think it's fair to the Bahamian people, these persons are millionaires, but want to get into them to get into the House for, to run for public office if you can't ask them no question and they don't want to give no answer? What is the reason?
Yeah.
I'm only asking. I mean, we've been going just for 20 plus years, both parties, corruption in both of them. And we still be going back and forward? When will the country move forward? When the national debt is getting higher and nobody gives account for nothing with the national, with the VAT money, everybody, come on. It's back and forward. Why we can't do no better in this country, what we call our own? I'm only asking. You can answer. Have a nice morning.
I don't know if I have the answer for it. Yeah. Well, we have to demand better from all of them. Right?
Big sigh.
Yeah. Too many people just, content. Well, we can soon have time to vote them out. And that might not be enough. That definitely is not enough, right? When they are courteous enough to print these documents and publish documents about what they say they're going to do, because some others haven't done it yet. But when they do those things and we have the promises right in front of us, we've got to hold them accountable. Don't smile up and laugh up and dance up when these things aren't getting done and there's only a year left. Right? We have to.
There's nothing wrong with dancing up.
Well,
don't smile up and laugh up, but you can dance up.
Dance up if they're getting the work done. Dance up when nothing's getting done. What is this? Time for this?
It's exercising.
Oh, okay. Exercise and foolishness. That's it. But okay. All right. I don't know. But yeah, some interesting promises being made. But what is happening with it? Anybody know what's going on? What's happening with the other stuff? For those of us who like to read their promises, I've almost said lies. Where are the others from the other people? We applaud the blueprint from the PLP. It's but what happened to the others? We're not doing that anymore. We just nobody cares. Like whatever. Let's not put these down so they can't hold this against us. What's the plan? Do we know?
That's true. Well, so the Coalition of Independents, right? Mm-hmm. Do they have a collective stance on things, or do they all have independent views?
That's a good question. I have no idea. Maybe it's, they all have a plan for their constituency. I have no idea. I can't even speculate, but they're not the only ones.
25 manifestos to go through.
You mean probably 39, if at least. But what's going on? We know everybody wants to deal with COVID. Yep. Everybody wants more jobs. Yep. Everybody wants fewer taxes or to tax right, whatever, right? But what is the plan? Do you have a long-term plan? 5 years, 10 years? Where do you want to see the Bahamas? Where do you want to see cities and towns and just the form of governance that we have? Do you have a plan at all? We're just trying to make it to the next day.
Maybe everyone else is going to go with the development plan, It's already in place and it's already produced. This is what the PLP says. We're going to follow the development plan, the Bahamas development plan. And because they claim the FNM just kind of put it on the shelf and doing their own thing.
Well, they did.
The National Development Plan.
That is what happened. That is definitely what happened.
So maybe everyone else that's their plan too.
Okay, as if they read it. Sure. Now, okay, more of your text messages. Let's read these. The Prime Minister and Agent Gibson need to speak about the water sewage contract. Yes. Okay. All right. So continue to call us on messages about that. Let's move on to more of what's in the news today. And as we said earlier, the national exam results. The Ministry of Education held a press conference about this yesterday and revealed some more information about these, the BJCs and the BGCSEs. The pass rate remains low and fewer students sat the BJC and BGCSE. Our Kyle Joaquin has the breakdown in this report.
There were many who told us to cancel the exams. Cancel it, they said. That we are putting our students at a disadvantage, that we are being unfair to them. And our students proved otherwise.
Education Minister Jeffrey Lloyd expressing vindication with the ministry moving forward with national exams this year, despite calls by some to cancel them amid the pandemic. With students bouncing between virtual and in-person learning over the past year and a half, the level of learning was questioned. But Lloyd says, taking a look at the results, students have done well.
The fact that we navigated through the multiplicity of restrictions and limitations in our instructional processes while still preparing our students to write these papers at over 100 centers throughout the islands is indeed an achievement, a stellar, significant, signature achievement, I must say.
So let's take a look at the numbers. 9,552 students sat the BJC examinations, usually for ninth graders. That's a 9% decrease from the amount of students. But of that 9,000, only 1,164 of them got a C or higher, and 1,630 of them got a D or higher in at least 5 subjects. 10% of the students, or 1,045 of them, received at least a C in math, English, and science.
I'm sure it would be no surprise for me to announce that in 2021, our female candidates, again, have outperformed our male candidates.
In the BGCSE examinations, there was a 15% decrease in the number of students who took them. Out of the 5,159 students, 10% of them, or 550, received a C or higher in 5 or more subjects. Despite that pass rate being considerably low, it is a 50% increase compared to 2020. Only 7% of candidates, or 382 of them, received a C or higher in math, English, and a science. But the effect of virtual or hybrid learning on grades is yet to be seen. When asked for a comparison of grades for those in schools where there was in-person learning to virtual, education officials couldn't provide them as yet.
Exam results are just being officially released today, and so therefore we have not completed all of our analysis of the examination results. We are still working, and therefore as we complete the analysis, we will share it with the public. Thank you.
Reporting for the Guardian News Network, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
Oh boy. Okay. So, on the surface, that didn't sound much better. That didn't sound good at all.
No.
Those numbers are pretty frightening. Of more than 5,000 students who sat at the BGCSE, only 550 getting C's and above. Huh. Okay. Let's get your views on all of that, folks. There, when he was on the show a few weeks ago, Minister Lloyd sort of downplaying the importance of these exams, looking more at the graduation rate as a sign of or a symbol of success, as opposed to these. And many of you clearly were bothered by that, texting in and questioning that logic. We know there are a lot of people who don't like these types of national exams. They think they are flawed and defective measurements of how you have done in your school career and not really an indicator of what the future will hold for you. But it does make you wonder. It does make you wonder what we're doing here with all these many years for these exams. I know, again, that's what, 3 whole years, 10th, 11th, 12th, and for this type of success rate, we should be doing a lot better. You know, Chester, I don't know if you remember this, but I know my grade, we were the last of the GCE students.
Oh, yeah?
And we laughing. I don't know why you're laughing at that. But we went to only 11th grade. Quite a few schools only did that. There was no reason for 12th grade. You could do all of this, and you will have a lot to say about GCEs versus BGCSEs. And if you could do that in the 2 years, and as opposed to the 3 years for BGCSE, no coursework is involved. Coursework was not involved in GCE, and that was the explanation, the rationale for having it be necessary that you needed to have the extra year. But again, these results make you question all of this. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about because I never did the BGCSE and I don't know how that works and all that stuff. But
from my time, people have been saying we need to go back to GCs.
Oh yeah, and not
a very long time ago. People have talked about this BGCSE thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, I think it's a bigger problem than the exam itself. I think there's something else going on here. And of course, we know COVID in the middle of all of this is a problem. But there are issues. There are issues that definitely need to be addressed. Let's get your views on it, folks. What do you say? What's happening here?
I think his point is very strange, though, because the focus on the graduation rate.
Mm-hmm.
But the biggest indicator of your graduation success is the BGCSE. I mean, nobody asked for a high school diploma to see it.
Right.
They like to see what your BGCSE
yes.
locally, yeah.
Yeah, right. Perhaps. Let's talk. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. Now, again, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again today. Let's not have that D-average nonsense conversation because I'm going to ask you what your grades were like. And, right. Yeah. But we've already had this discussion every single year around this time about how these averages work. This is not the same scale as the GCE, 5-point scale versus 7-point scale, and the average is going to be a D. That's how it works. And again, the D is not a fail in the BGCSE system, right? And we can, again, have that discussion about whether it is time, after all these years, for the Ministry of Education to change the scale. But let's not call people the D average and all that nonsense that we like to do here. But let's hear what you have to say. 323-6232. 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. This text here. I guess the Minister of Education thinks we are math illiterate. If 2 people took the BGCSE and 1 got an A, then 50% of the students got A's. I think if it works for COVID, why not education? Okay. Mm-hmm. And that's a negative text there. This one says, it appears that the former Minister of Education to say that the exam results were good only shows that we have a low expectation for our behavior of education, I believe. Right? Is it? Anyway, only shows that we have a low expectation for our behaving students. My expectations of a good result would be A's, B's, or C's. Mm-hmm. Oh boy, yeah, okay. More of your messages here. Is that yeah? Okay, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Dwight.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning to Chester as well.
Good morning.
Yeah, I agree with that text. And when he said the minister think there's a mass illiterate a lot of people, not even those who go to school, because how he's beating up his chest, saying that the grades were good. Well, less students took the examination. Okay? So I don't know why he's beating up his chest. And this was the same minister, I just want to refresh, who, as a talk show host, he blasts every minister. But when he became minister, he tried to make excuse and tried to explain what a D average means. Because he is minister. He's the minister now. So to me, the minister just need to sit more. And there were a lot of technical issues with the Ministry of Education, with the tablets and getting on in the beginning. So I don't know what he's trying to big up himself for and throwing his jazz with persons who say, well, shouldn't take the exams now or whatever, and just running around with a bunch of rhetoric. Just sit small.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. You can continue to call in 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. My goodness. Okay. Yeah. So what are we going to do? We know that we had a challenging year last year. It's starting off the same way. Fewer students taking these exams. It's not clear exactly why that is. Is it by choice? Is it because they're just not prepared? Is it because they too, like the minister, feel that well, this isn't the focus? Maybe SATs, maybe what's the thing that some of the schools are doing? The international, AP, and all those other things. Maybe they're focusing on that and less reliance on these national exams. Is that what's happening here? It would be good to know. Again, we have to say maybe we really need a complete restructuring here because this is not going to be necessary. I know the issue with us was that many people were getting out of school far too young. When you graduate in 11th grade, people were graduating at 15 and can't really go off to college, abroad especially. And 15, 16 is not good. So the additional year, essentially babysitting. I'm not sure at this rate if these are what the results are. What are we doing here? And then some schools just making lots of money for you sitting there for an extra year, taking up some space. What exactly are we doing? What are we doing? Do we care? Maybe it's all about politics. Maybe that's all everybody is into right now. Politics and... Okay, that's fine. We get back to your messages. This one just coming in. In light of yet more allegations being levied against another government minister. Well, he's not really a minister, right? But anyway. Sure. If Mr. Davis is prepared to make deals with the union, wouldn't this be a great time to make a deal with the Bahamian people to seriously speak to freedom of information and provide proof of a comprehensive path to that? Yeah, definitely sounds good. Definitely sounds good. All right. This text here. Let's remember the minister is a lawyer by profession, so he will know how to spin those results to make it look positive. Okay. It appears that we read that one already. A professional colleague employed a recent graduate from the school system. The person had a GPA of 3.5, but my colleague lamented that the person could not even calculate the area of a box. Or he struggled to understand a paragraph in an English report. So these students seem to have serious gaps in their analytic abilities. The educational system is not working. Wow. Well, oh boy, that's rough. Well, yeah, I think you might need to do some digging in that one. What was that?
Be something else.
Right, a 3.5 on a what scale? Some of these schools don't just use a 4-point scale. And so maybe that's a 3.5 on a 6 or 7 or 10 scale. I don't know. Anyway, this person says people tend to forget that only 20% of students took GCEs, whereas the BGCSE is designed for more students to sit this exam. The BGCSE is supposed to apply to different learning types. Not everyone takes tests well, hence the coursework. Underlying short, we need to value education and encourage the next generation to do the same. Concerned, right? So you're right. The GCE, very few people were allowed to take them, right? And yet these numbers are this low for an exam that was supposed to be more widespread, more inclusive. So something is very, very wrong. Very wrong, and we need to be very worried. Right? This is nationwide. This isn't just in the public school system with these numbers, right? 550 with grade C and above. Yeah, that's reason to be greatly concerned. Yeah, and that's another point I was making again, right? So if we could do our GCE work in 2 years and get A's and B's and C's, and in 3 years we're getting fewer people getting those grades, we've got a problem. We've got a problem. And we've had a problem. It's been a while. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us. Another person here, no matter what the Minister of Education says about education, even if it's good or bad, these people will complain. The same thing with Belinda Wilson. I don't know why you're bringing her up in this. Why are you doing that? Who leads the attacks? You just can't please people. We can't please people. What are you talking about? Did you hear that text we just read where people are saying people are coming out of school and they don't have simple skills, simple abilities, simple tasks are challenging. That's not good. We need to complain if that's what's going on. But it's not just the schools, right? It's so because there are parents who clearly has a problem in primary school and will just throw their hands up and say, well, this school needs to do better. We're just waiting for the wind to blow our people in the right directions. And we can't continue to do this. But we've got to complain. We've got to complain. This is a sign, a warning sign that something's going on here. And to say that stop complaining and just carry on, this is why we have so many of the issues we have right now. Okay. Another text here. I wonder if it was a PLP education minister, if Miss PLP would tell him to sit small. This is in reaction to that call. The politics comes back. Okay. How about to make that last year national service, let them learn the islands of the nation, join the armed forces. The armed force.
I like that idea.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
Just like Israel.
Okay. Why?
Yeah.
Why? Why do you like
I
that
think
idea?
it can straighten some people up.
Yeah, it probably could mess some people who were...
Give them a sense of purpose.
Yeah, some people who were probably okay before are going to get messed up.
I mean, that could be true.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Well, again, Israel's had how many wars in the last 50 years? They need to do
They need it.
Come on, Dwight. We don't need to. Okay. Anyway, since it's clear the public universities and some jobs have never accepted D as a pass grade, instead of ranting about the D pass, Ministry of Education should have changed the scale so that a C would reflect the D, what a D now stands for. I totally agree with you on that. Totally agree. That's what we were saying.
Yeah, let's just move it around.
Use another distinction for A and credit or something, but that would make more sense. Or people aren't going to like that. Or have the same scale for the BGCSE be used from preschool straight up, so that of course, no one's going to know that you are a D student from then, but something needs to be done, and that needs to be addressed. Absolutely, because we're all tired of having that discussion. Another one. Can you try Oh boy. Okay, this one here. How about to make that last year, national service, we read that already. Join the armed forces. The year of national service would be mandated till 18. Another one here. I wonder if it was, yes, okay. I don't know what that texter is talking about with the high school graduate who couldn't calculate the area of a square. Please explain the advanced mathematics you used to extrapolate that characteristic. So it was all graduates. You said that they hired a student who apparently had a 3.5 GPA, and the student has challenges with simple math and reading and writing, apparently. They didn't say that would be everybody, but just highlighting what we're facing sometimes. And I'm sure you can find students who had 2.5 GPAs who are going to be brilliant in the workplace, who are going to be better than everybody on staff at everything. That happens as well. Maybe even lower GPAs, right? So,
Can't just discount people.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, we read that already. Why are these coming in again twice? Did you see the news with the principal that said that packages were put together for students who don't have the notebooks and parents didn't even bother to pick them up? I'm not surprised. All right. So you can continue to message us about this. So yesterday, virtual school opened for some. And that's going to be continuing to roll out over the next few days. For a look at what happened yesterday and what we can expect over the next few days, take a listen to this report from our Jasmine Brown.
For thousands of students across the country, it was an online welcome as they virtually reunited with their teachers and friends on the first day of virtual school.
So good morning, everyone. Good morning, boys and girls. Good morning, families. Good morning to your guardians, your mommies, your daddies, and your grown-ups at home.
Online learning has become the order of the day for the majority of schools across the country, and that means parents like Brian McPhee, whose 7-year-old son is a second grader at Temple Christian Primary School, have to go the extra mile, even if it means bringing his son Liam to work. He says it's been difficult but rewarding.
His grades has improved, and I think it's because me and my wife have, dedicated to being by his side through the whole process. My son, in the past, very rare, he said, "Daddy, I love you." But now that men have been bonding so much and spending so much time together, every morning when he gets up, he says, "Daddy, I love you."
The return to virtual classes has also meant students like Liam have had to adjust.
Do you prefer online or being in school to learn?
Being in school to learn.
And why?
Because I haven't fun with my friends.
The Ministry of Education announced earlier this month that all public schools in the Bahamas will begin the school year with a virtual learning format, and Minister Jeff Lloyd encouraged private. As it turns out, many of them heeded that advice, including Nassau Christian Schools, Temple Christian Schools, Queens College, and St. Augustine's College. Over at the Meridian School, virtual classes began this morning. Principal Lisa Gowdy says they decided to go virtual for at least the first week of classes, and it went well thanks to proper planning.
When we started virtually today, it was very seamless, very easy. My teachers were well equipped to be able to use the resources. My students have all got their own logins, their own passwords, their own Meridian Gmail accounts. So everything, the transition really has been incredibly smooth. So I'm really proud of the teachers and really proud of the students.
Meridian teacher and center manager Therese Claire says in her 21 years of teaching, this has been one of the most innovative, especially for teachers with younger students.
It's so much more than just putting a child in front of a YouTube or something, because the teacher is there and calling on the child, asking, getting them engaged in the lessons. So to being in the classroom and having this, I would say, this is the technology that the era we're going into. This is the cutting edge of what is going to be happening with this new normal.
Now, when it comes to how things went on the first day of virtual school at public schools, Education Director Marcellus Taylor says there were no major issues to report. Reporting for Guardian News Network, I'm Jasmine Brown.
So this is going to be the way it is for the foreseeable future, the next few months. They're saying a month or I think what I heard about 2 months, through the end of October, more than likely they'll be looking at this. But I suspect it may be longer. I suspect it will be longer. How are parents managing with this? We know a lot of people had challenges when this first launched after March of 2020. People who were essential workers who had to go to work, who had to stay at home with the kids. Has it gotten any easier? Tell us what you're experiencing. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796.
We heard that gentleman report, he's getting closer to his son.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Yeah, I think it's driving some other people apart, though. From what I'm hearing. All right. A couple messages here. Let me help the texter with the student who can't calculate or comprehend. Grades are probably poor indicators of what you're looking for. I guess it's difficult to question your process and easier to shift the blame. Yeah, I think that is. That it probably is. It always is. That seems to be what we. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, more of what's making news on this Tuesday morning. It is Tuesday, right? Yes, it is. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. We're going to be back in just a bit.
Take that mess from off the wall. Give that baby back its ball. Leave other people things alone. There's other ways to get involved. Get involved, don't be no fool, stay in school. Let your mind become a tool. Church were made for fools to be. Locked away from society. Society. Get involved, get involved. Get involved, get involved.
Guardian Radio 9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
And our very first look at traffic for this morning brought to you by RBC Royal Bank. Here's what's happening in your real-time traffic. At this hour, we're seeing heavy traffic on Milo Butler Highway, just north of Harold Pond. You'll notice that in the northbound lanes heading to Tonic Williams-Darling Highway. Gladstone Road building traffic, northbound lane to JFK Drive. You'll notice that the closer you get there this morning. Seeing some building traffic on Carmichael Road as well. Carmichael westbound to Coral Harbor Road. And Blue Hill Road, just north of Soldier Road, the northbound lanes to Independence Drive. You're going to see some heavy traffic there. Traffic's building on Carmichael eastbound to Blue Hill Road as well. And in that general vicinity there, Blue Hill Road is going to be pretty busy for you. Soldier Road, Soldier and East Street. I'm seeing some traffic there. And East Street between Soldier and East-West Highway, you'll see some building traffic there. Those are your hot spots for this morning. Elsewhere, just in the major intersections. That's what we're dealing with. We'll have another real-time report for you after the 8 o'clock news. That's your Morning Blend Traffic Alert brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, Banking Reimagined. And time for another check of your weather for today. Across the area, that's going to result in light to gentle winds today. Boaters should be alert for possible waterspout activity, and everybody's being advised to limit outdoor activities and remain hydrated as heat indices are expected to be in the triple digits again. For all areas, your forecast calls for partly sunny and hot conditions with a few widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms. Fair and warm tonight with a chance of a few passing showers and isolated thunderstorms. Gusty winds and higher seas expected in showers and thunderstorms. Look for highs getting up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. The heat index up to 105 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. The overnight low tonight getting down to about 74 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, weak high pressure will persist through the next few days, while a mid to upper level trough associated with remnants of Ida will drift to near the northern Bahamas by Thursday, supporting a few showers and thunderstorms. Tomorrow, partly sunny and hot, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms during the day, warm with isolated showers possible at night. Thursday, a mix of sun and clouds, hot as well, with scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms during the day, warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms possible at night. In the tropics, we've got Tropical Storm Kate now out in the Atlantic, about 700 miles east of the Leeward Islands. Not going to be a threat to anybody, but there are two other areas being monitored. A well-defined low-pressure system over the far eastern tropical Atlantic, more than 200 miles southeast of the coast of Guinea, off the west coast of Africa. It's beginning to show some signs of organization now, and a tropical depression is likely to form within the next day or so while it moves west-northwest. Formation chance in the next 5 days is 90%. Then there's a broad area of low pressure forecast to develop over the southwestern Caribbean Sea in a couple of days, with a formation chance of about 20% through 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check. We'll be back with more Morning Blend after these messages here on Guardian Radio 96.9.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
Technology serves to make our lives better, so why not your business too? At Custom Computers, we've been maintaining our knowledge and relationships with top tech companies since 1987 and carry only the most trusted brands like Apple, Microsoft, HP, and more. No businesses build reliable IT systems than Custom Computers. You name it, we've done it. Call 396-1101 to talk to any of our business experts. Find trust in your tech. Count on Custom Computers.
Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Street, has those hard-to-find fasteners for you right now. You can find stainless steel regular hex, carriage bolts, galvanized bolts, threaded rods, nails, self-tap screws, sex bolts, anchor bolts, turnbuckles, masonry tools, hand tools, and weed whacker strings. Check out the rope selection and car body fasteners, too. Special orders are welcome. It's your #1 fastener store. Screws and Fasteners World, Balfour Avenue and Palm Beach Streets. Call 326-1976.
Let me ask you a few questions. What's your name?
Pam.
Favorite food?
Steak.
Beer or wine?
Wine.
Is your money safe?
It's under my bed, so I guess so.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why?
Unless your money is in a bank or credit union that's a member of the Deposit Insurance Corporation, it's safe.
Yeah, but what if something happens to the bank?
Your Bahamian dollar deposits are insured up to $50,000, so you'd still be ahead. Plus, your mattress might catch fire. Then what?
Man, those banks and credit unions are looking good right about now.
Visit the DIC's website at www.dic.bs. Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Take that mess from off the wall. Give that baby back its ball. Leave other people things alone. There's other ways to get involved. Get involved. Don't be no fool. Stay in school. Let your mind become a tool.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards on this Tuesday morning. Coming up in a few minutes, we're going to be talking with Michael Halkitis. He is the PLP's candidate for St. Barnabas, former Minister of Finance. We're going to talk to him about the campaign, about COVID, the economy. A lot to talk to him about. That's coming up in just a few minutes, just a couple of minutes. All right, we're going to get through the last of your text messages on what we've been talking about, the national examination results and how things are going there. You can call it 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right, the couple text messages here. Somebody says here, Dwight, my kids are under 8 and they have to be monitored school fees and another institution for them to ensure that they are learning virtually with their school. It's unfortunate that parents have to pay twice. Wow, that is rough. That is very rough. Yeah. Another one here. Truthfully speaking, no man-made system is made to accommodate all. The educational system is an excellent example. Even with the best and most gifted educators duly instructing students, only a few dedicated students will advance to gratify our greatest expectations. So is it with animals, our employees, politicians, even pastors. In short, this is the nature of life. Okay. Another one here. One of the issues I have with school online systems is that you still have to pay the full fees, and my wife and I work 9 to 5, so it's very challenging. My son didn't do, and the teachers don't seem to have good concepts of computers, so they miss a lot of stuff, and it's already started. Even now, school's half day, so my son has to be supervised, or has to be unsupervised until you get home, and he's left home alone. Very challenging indeed. This is rough. That's very sad.
Yeah, I know a few parents who, they obviously are paying school fees, but also someone to watch the kid now to make sure that they're actually paying attention to their online learning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's unfortunate. All right, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Blend.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
I always push for the idea of getting rid of this British system because it's really not for us. And we've been witnessing this it's been working for some time when the population was less and weren't all that mixed. But now we need to change it. I just think we should change it. But just to correct this thing about Jupiter at opposition really means Lucifer is at opposition. Jupiter represents Lucifer, the sun, God himself. And as they align, Lucifer is going to have an effect. As you can clearly see, what's happening with the Taliban. Look how Lucifer is destroying us. Thanks for taking my call.
Okay. Huh? Okay. You know, well, it's all revealed now. He's been teasing us with it. I mean, I didn't really look it up. But okay, so that's what it is. Uh-huh.
Oh. Right, okay.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? That's another good point to take a break. Now, when we come back, we're going to be talking with Michael Halkitis. He's going to be here with us. A lot to talk to him about. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
Take that mess from off the wall. Give that baby back its ball. Leave other people things alone. There's other ways to get involved. Get involved. Don't be no fool. Stay in school.
Many people wonder, what makes Boost Academy unique? Maybe it's our 8-to-1 student-staff ratio, the emphasis we place on student individuality, our focus on numeracy, literacy, and creating better citizens by sharpening students' critical thinking skills. One of our many talented teachers, program facilitators, and mentors. Or just maybe it is our commitment to taking full responsibility for your child's education, no hidden fees or costs. Regardless of what it is, let us help your child reach their full potential. Boost Academy is currently enrolling students of grades 4 through 12. Visit www.boostbahamas.com to apply now.
Best rate, no delay. Best rate, no delay.
BTC gives more savings on the best fiber internet. It's super fast with super savings in every pack. package. Compare and see for yourself. Enjoy up to 150 megabits per second plus 157 TV channels and unlimited home phone minutes for only $99.99.
Best rate, no delay.
Visit a VTC store to sign up for the best internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network. Conditions apply.
Breakfast just got better at Wendy's. Introducing the Breakfast Biggie Bag. Enjoy a double sausage muffin with 2 square sausage patties, a freshly cracked egg, and cheese served on a toasted English muffin, a medium waffle fries, and an only $5.25 fat inclusive. And an apple pie for just $1 more.
Say what?
At Wendy's, better breakfast is all day. Offers valid in participating locations. Wendy's, different inside and out.
It's summertime. The temperature is rising, the beach is calling, and the bills are piling up. You need relief. Let B.O.B. make your summer as sweet as Eleuthera's finest pineapples with the lowest consumer loan rates in the country. Consolidate debt to reduce your monthly payments, secure funds for school fees and home repairs, or save big by switching to a B.O.B. mortgage. Sweet relief is here. Apply today at B.O.B., your bank of solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day. It's the start of the new day. You know that it's here. It's the start of the end of the old way. Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
Welcome back to the Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. And we are getting into politics. As you know, the countdown is on to the general election. And we're very pleased to have with us here the PLP candidate for St. Barnabas, former Minister of Finance, Michael Halkitis. Michael Halkitis, always a pleasure. Great to have you with us this morning.
Great to be here, Dwight. Thanks for having me. Good morning to you and good morning, Chester. Good morning, Bahamas.
Good morning.
All right, so we're going to get a little bit later to talk about your campaign, how that's going. But let's start with some of the big issues that we're talking about now. Of course, we can't ignore COVID, the worst month we've ever had, and this whole very long ordeal. And it just doesn't seem like it's going to get any better anytime soon. And so many people are still wondering. I think the last time he was asked about it, the Prime Minister, he said that we'll soon find out why he's decided to call this early election in the middle of the worst month that we've seen for this pandemic. But what's going on here? What do you make of it? Why now? Why are we having this election now?
I think it has to do with, and you would have seen in the public domain some comments by the Banking Association, the chairman of the Clearing Banks Association, asking the government for a debt management plan. I think the government in the last budget issued a one-year debt management plan. They were asked for a multi-year comprehensive debt management plan. And I think the whispers that we've been hearing that the government is acting this budget that is raising around $750 million to fund this budget, they're actually having some difficulties doing that. They need to put in place certain conditions that will satisfy potential creditors. And my feeling is they don't want to do those things that might be painful before an election. So they're taking the chance to go to an election, hoping to win, and then implement any of those conditions that are being required by creditors. That's my feeling, because in reality, my personal thinking was that looking at the spikes and this either third or fourth wave that we're in, and seeing cases consistently over 100, in my mind, I felt that the competent authority would wait until cases began to decline, and we saw a declining trend before he called an election. But, in my opinion, as well as the I don't know what you call it, the issues with the speaker and the open parliament and that ongoing confrontation, as well as what seemed to be an emerging scandal coming out of the Ministry of Health. Perhaps all of that just led the Prime Minister to say, well, I'll just kill all of these birds with one stone and go to an election.
Oh my! All right, so we'll get back to the economy specifically, but let's talk more about COVID. And we know there's been lots of critiques, a lot of criticism on the choices that have been made, everything from the ongoing emergency powers, the state of emergency, to testing and whether there should be lockdowns and whether we do need curfews, all these things. We keep hearing about the PLP's COVID plan. What could be done differently when it does seem that they don't take all the advice, but they do get professionals who would want, it seems, even more stringent rules regarding our movement at this time?
I think the main thing, Dwight, is the PLP has always advocated for free testing and better contact tracing, isolating those who have tested positive. The fact that to get tested costs money will deter a lot of people from going to get tested. They get tested when they feel symptoms. If we truly want to attack the issue, make testing free and available to all of those who want to be tested, improve your contact tracing so that those who are positive can be isolated. We have to treat those people, and we have to make sure that we invest in our healthcare facilities to make sure that we have the capacity to treat them. If you'll recall, in the early stages of the lockdown, the Prime Minister said that we're doing these lockdown care capacity. That did not happen, but we just had a series of lockdowns, and we've gone through several waves, and now we're in the worst condition that we're in, and we have not seen the investment in the healthcare capacity. And so you're right. Many countries are doing similar things. There are restrictions and movements all over the world. We recognize that some of that is necessary, but we believe that if we make testing free, improve our contact tracing capability, we won't have to have the harsh lockdowns that shut down the entire country and do very severe damage to the economy, and thus creates this cycle where the government doesn't have money to invest in the healthcare because and to treat people because of the lockdowns and the effects on the economy.
But doesn't that take time to get that investment going, to put that into effect?
But we're almost 2 years into a state of emergency. So if, for example, those things were done as was stated when we had the first lockdown, so look, we're locking down so that we can prepare our capacity, we would have been in a much better position today. Remember now, we've been in a state of emergency since, I think, March 2020. This is, tomorrow will be September 2021, and just a constant state of emergency. So yes, it does take time, but I believe, you can't go back and say, in March 2020 and early 2020, February, when we started to hear about this thing, it was unknown to everybody. But the Prime Minister said, we're doing this lockdown. It's going to give us some room, give us some time to increase our capacity so that we can tackle this COVID-19. That did not happen. We just had one series of extensions of the state of emergency. And we all know the effects on the economy, the uneven application of the restrictions. Certain people could get exemptions, locked up. So all we're saying is, yes, it is, an unknown. It's the worst pandemic in 100 years. But, the key is our belief. Instead of using a sledgehammer, let's try to be more precise with this. And that begins by making testing free. If an individual has to decide between, paying $40 for a rapid test or $100 for the $140, whatever it is, for the PCR, and paying the rent or buying food, and they're not feeling any symptoms, they're feeling quite fine, even though they might be positive, very few people would decide to pay money for a test. So we believe it begins by free testing, better contact tracing, treating those individuals and isolating those individuals who are positive. That way, we can gradually loosen our economy even more and the resources to improve our health system and the capacity to treat people, because as many of the healthcare workers and the physicians and the nurses have said, we're beyond the point of collapse.
Yeah, we got to go to the news, but I do want to ask you this. I mean, I am, like many other people, of the view, unfortunately, we don't want this, but of the view that after the election, we are almost certain that we're going to hear whomever it is who wins. say that we're going to need to lock down again, at least for one last time, perhaps. Can you say yay or nay to that? That if the PLP wins, that is going to be off the table? Can you say that?
One of the critical points in our COVID plan is that we will be guided by the science. So I can't sit here 2 weeks out and absolutely rule something like that out. All I say is we'll be absolutely guided by the science, but we know, yes, you're trying to save lives and protect the health of people, but we know that has a devastating effect on the livelihoods of people as well. So the answer is we'll be guided by the science. We'll put medical professionals out to speak to the Bahamian people, to educate them. What we find, unfortunately, my opinion, is that when we have the politicians coming out and speaking to these matters, people tend to tune it out. So our view is that the people speaking about COVID should be the scientists, so that when you say you're being guided by them, people can actually hear the voice of these medical professionals.
All right, let's break for the news. We'll be back. This is Morning Blend on Guardian Radio. Welcome back. Welcome back to Morning Blend here on Guardian Radio 96.9. We are streaming live on GuardianTalkRadio.com and on the Guardian Radio app for smart devices. We're also on your televisions on Cable Bahamas Channel 969 and BTC Flow Channel 612. You can tweet us at MorningBlend969 or Facebook.com/MorningBlend969. Text us 422-4796. And now at 8:23, time for another check of your weather for today, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. Here's what's happening. We've got weak high pressure across the area that will result in light to gentle winds across the islands. For all areas today, forecast calls for partly sunny and hot conditions with a few widely scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms, turning mainly fair and warm tonight with a chance of a few passing showers and isolated thunderstorms. Gusty winds and higher seas can be expected in showers and thunderstorms. Temperature-wise, today, another hot day in store. Highs getting up to around 92 Fahrenheit, 33 Celsius. But the heat index will make it feel like 105 Fahrenheit, 40 Celsius. And everyone's being advised to indoors, limit outdoor activities, and remain hydrated, as we're expecting those triple-digit indices today. Overnight lows tonight getting down to about 74 Fahrenheit, 23 Celsius. In your extended outlook, weak high pressure will persist over the next few days, while a mid to upper level trough associated with remnants from Ida will drift near the northern Bahamas by Thursday, supporting a few showers and thunderstorms. So for Wednesday, tomorrow, partly sunny and hot with a few scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms during the day, warm with isolated showers possible at night. Thursday, a mix of sun and clouds, hot again, scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms during the day, warm with isolated showers and thunderstorms at night. In the tropics, a lot going on. We've got Tropical Storm Kate, which is out in the Atlantic, not going to be a threat to anybody. But there are two other areas of concern. We've got a well-defined low-pressure system near over the far eastern tropical Atlantic, about 200 miles off the coast of Guinea in West Africa. And that's beginning to show some signs now of organization, and a tropical depression is likely to form in the next day or so as it moves west-northwestward. Then there's a broad area of low pressure forecast to develop over the southwestern Caribbean Sea in a couple of days, with a formation chance of about 20% through the next 5 days. Elsewhere, tropical cyclone formation not expected during the next 5 days. That's your Morning Blend weather check, brought to you by Bahamas First Insurance. What's first for you comes first for us. another check of traffic for this morning in your real-time traffic. We've got Smart Butler Highway, heavy traffic there just as you get north of Fire Trail in the northbound lanes. You'll be seeing that all the way up to Tonic Williams Darling Highway. Glass Road looking a little bit better for you, but still heavy traffic in the northbound lanes closer you get to JFK Drive this morning. Blue Hill Road is going to be busy for you just north of Soldier Road, the northbound lanes heading to Independence Drive, and near Carmichael Road. That junction is looking pretty busy this morning as well. Elsewhere, we've got pockets westbound on Carmichael heading to Coral Harbor Road. Carmichael near Faith Avenue and Mile Butler Highway. That area, southbound on Mile Butler Highway, you're going to be seeing that heavy traffic there. But east on Carmichael toward that junction, you're going to be seeing some building traffic. It's going to slow you down quite a bit there. And elsewhere, we've got Soldier and Windsor Place and Soldier and Old Trail. That area is congested, and we've got schools open in that area, so keep that in mind. And then all along Robinson Road and Prince Charles Drive, the major intersections, you'll be seeing some heavy traffic there, so keep that in mind this morning. That's your real-time traffic in the Morning Blend Traffic Alert, brought to you by RBC Royal Bank, Banking Reimagined.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
KB and Sting, coming with the heavy ting. Come on. Woo! Yes! Eyes of a human, herringbone and bread. I don't want to live nowhere else, even when I dead. Eyes of a human, and I always late. If you want me there by 9, better tell me come 8.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan, along with Chester Robards. We are talking with Michael Alkidas, a St. Barnabas candidate for the PLP, talking about COVID and the economy and the PLP's plans. We were talking about COVID before the break. I want to continue this just for a bit. Michael Alkidas, I know this is coming up quite a bit. Many people are asking about this, about the party's stance on vaccinations. I know testing has been a big part. We've been hearing about that for months. But vaccination, many are saying that we don't hear the same push that we do from even health professionals about encouraging people to get vaccinated. And there are even questions about some of the candidates and whether we know that the leader is, we know the chairman is, we know some others are, but just it seems to be unclear about the rest of the candidates and where you all stand on this.
The position of the party is that individuals should educate themselves and that individuals should go out and take the vaccine. Our leader, our deputy leader, our chairman, myself, many of the candidates, most of the candidates, I believe, have been vaccinated, and we encourage people to get vaccinated. The evidence has shown that vaccinated individuals, even if they contract COVID, the symptoms aren't as severe as for unvaccinated individuals. Now, persons would have individual reasons, perhaps health reasons or religious reasons or philosophical reasons where they do not want to get vaccinated. So we believe that it remains a personal, but we don't endorse a mandatory vaccination, but we strongly encourage people to get vaccinated because the evidence shows that, vaccinated people, even if they contract COVID, the symptoms are less severe. And I would encourage listeners as well, Dwight and Chester, to, if they did not have an opportunity to hear the leaders' address last night on our COVID plan, to go to our PLP website, PLP Facebook page, where the address will be available, where he lays out the comprehensive plan and our belief that individuals should get vaccinated, and then the other things I spoke about in terms of testing, contact tracing, investment in the healthcare system.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk some more about what we can do and how much that's going to cost, because we see sometimes, especially with Princess Margaret Hospital, just how much needs to be done there to get this up to an acceptable standard. But what do you anticipate needs to be done, and how much will it cost to help us in the fight against COVID, but just also in the long-term health needs of the nation?
Yeah, in the immediate term, what we need is to build capacity so that those who need to be treated can be treated, and they get the attention that they need in as comfortable an environment as possible. We have all seen the videos and the photos and heard the stories of people in the hallways, etc. So we need to immediately invest in capacity so that when people need to be hospitalized or they need to be be getting urgent care, they can get it. And then over the long term, we all know the needs in terms of new hospital in Grand Bahama, the mini hospitals in the substantial investment in either the Princess Margaret Hospital. The strategy has been to build new wings of it, or longer term, a new hospital for New Providence. But the immediate need is to make sure that those people who need to be hospitalized and get the treatment, they can do so in a dignified way. And it comes down to priorities, Dwight. The short-term needs, critical healthcare needs of the people, we have to make sure that we prioritize that. And then, because if we do that, we can treat the people and get them back healthy. And then, we can talk about the economy and opening the economy, people being able to go back to work. And as a matter of fact, this evening, broadcast, you will have broadcast on ILTV as well as Eyewitness Facebook page, our economic summit, which speaks about tackling COVID and the implementation of our economic plan. As you know, I think it was back in March, we released our economic plan because we wanted Bahamians to have an opportunity to see that the PLP has a plan for the economy. We wanted to get it out there so that people can read it and digest it and critique it. And this economic summit that will be broadcast tonight, the intention is to show people how we're going to implement that economic plan. And a big part of it is, as you know, reduction of VAT from 12% to 10%, increase in the minimum wage from $210 to $250, and investment in education, training, and diversification of the economy. And so this is another step in us showing the Bahamian people we have a plan, here is our plan, and this next step this is how we're going to implement the plan.
All right, let's talk about that. Let's get some more details about this. And we've coming off COVID and Dorian. It's been a very challenging few years, and of course, those are the excuses we hear from the current administration about why so many things can't be done. But there's no doubt that we've had some unbelievable challenges here. But let's talk about that. If the PLP is successful, just how limited will you be in achieving some of these goals that you talk about, knowing the realities of what we've had to face?
Yeah, I always go back to priorities, Dwight. And, we shouldn't run the risk you run if you are too cautious. I mean, you have to be cautious, but if you're overly cautious, the risk you run is that you don't make the investments that are necessary to get the economy going. And so you're in this very, very long spiral of low growth, watch your spending, and so you don't have the investment that's necessary. The government doesn't send a signal to the private sector that, we're confident and we think this economy is going to grow. And so, if you're too cautious, then you just, you have a situation persist where over years and years and years, you just have low growth and your debt is going to grow anyway. And so our view is that we should take some bold steps. We believe that the reduction in the VAT will give consumers a break, also keep some money in their pockets. We believe that will stimulate the economy. That's not the only part of the plan. A very important part of the plan is revenue enhancement. In the last administration, we had a unit called the Revenue Enhancement Unit in the Department of Inland Revenue, whose main goal basically was to do audits and checks and follow-ups and make sure that those who had tax or paying them, any loopholes were closed. And so we believe that everybody should pay their fair share, that we should not burden the already overburdened Bahamian consumer with additional taxes. But those out there who can afford it, big businesses, big property owners, are asked to pay required to pay their fair share. This is not to say go after people to try and close them down, but just to make sure that we have an equitable collection system. And so those two things working in conjunction, we believe will give us the resources to run the government. And we have to make some investments. We have to invest in other areas of the economy, like the creative industries, the environment, agriculture. We have to invest more in training to retrain our people because, with the COVID, what has happened is you've seen the work landscape drastically change where many, many people are not going back into the office, remote working. So all of those things we have to do. And I think it's priorities. I know, yes, we've come off a big challenge, but, I believe that what we have to do is make some investment. We'll have to borrow some money in the short term to do it, but make some investment that will have a return where we can transform the economy, make it more inclusive for people. With the COVID pandemic, what has happened is a lot of people have become entrepreneurs either by choice, or by choice meaning they wanted to do something different, or by necessity, they've lost their jobs. You've seen a lot of creative entrepreneurs, and so we have to continue to support them and realize that, we're not going to go back to the economy that existed before the pandemic, and things are going to change. And how do we get in front of it to make sure, for example, that we support Bahamians in the family islands, ecotourism, small-scale agriculture, the creative industries, those sorts of things, and make sure that we have in place, the resources to support them. And all of that is in our economic plan.
Right.
And as I said, the summit will be broadcast tonight. I think it's 8:00. And, Bahamians, I invite everybody to tune in and really get the information on how we intend to implement the plan.
But there is some skepticism about the VAT reduction. You just mentioned it. You might still need to borrow in the short term, but so people are wondering, okay, we're going to reduce the VAT, but still borrow. What's the point of reducing the VAT there then? Tell us more about that and why that still makes sense.
I'll say this, Dwight. If you look around, there's dozens of countries around the world that have reduced their consumption tax in the time of break, just to give them a break. When I spoke about borrowing in the short term, I'm talking about investments that we have to make, investments in infrastructure, investments to support entrepreneurs. So that's in our budget, we have a couple of classifications. We're talking about capital and investments. As I said, with the reduction in so if we want to make those big investments, for example, as I'm talking about, investments in infrastructure, investment in housing, investment in education, we're going to have to, take the plunge. Now, in terms of the reduction in the VAT, as I said, we will go doing quite well, albeit it was before the pandemic, at 7.5%. We believe that if we reduce to 10%, combine that with aggressive revenue enhancement, meaning going after those who are using loopholes to not pay their fair share, that the effect on the recurrent side will be minimal. We actually think it will be positive. And so I would also like to say to people that we recognize that this is to get out of this economic slump that we're in is going to require multiple years. And so it's not going to be an immediate turnaround. The PLP comes to government and then all problems are solved at the next budget. No, it's going to take some time to come out of it. But we believe that we have to make the investment, particularly in our people, in our infrastructure, in our education, so that when we come out of it, we're in a stronger position.
You've sat in this political, in this seat of finance before. Are you satisfied that the government has put out so much literature on, where the economy is, that kind of thing? Are you satisfied that if you are successful on the 16th, that you have a clear picture of what you're going to, economic struggles you're going to face?
No, I'm not satisfied at all, Chester, because, they put out a lot of colorful brochures, a lot of charts, a lot of pretty pictures. But the fact of the matter is this. The Auditor General put out a report a couple of weeks ago saying, basically criticizing the government for its handling of the COVID spending by saying that they did not release the beneficial ownership information on the companies who received contracts related particularly to the $250 million IMF loan. Now, that got some attention, and then it seems to have receded to the background. But I'm very, very concerned about that, Chester, because the Attorney General came out afterwards and said, he's going to use in 24 hours, he's going to amend the regulations to make the Ministry of Finance one of the agencies that's required that is able to get this beneficial, suggesting that somehow the law prevented the government from providing this information. But if you look at the IMF website, on that website, it lists quite clearly the commitments that the government of the Bahamas made before they got the loan. They went to the IMF, they got the $250 million loan, and they told the IMF that we will provide beneficial ownership information. The Attorney General of the Bahamas provides a legal opinion on every single loan that the government enters into. So for the AG to come back afterwards and say, the Ministry of Finance doesn't have the right to give that information, having committed to the IMF before they got the loan that they will provide the information, that concerns me, because I can very well see sometime in the future a report criticizing that. Furthermore, the competent authority under the emergency orders is supposed to provide an account on the COVID-19 spending, and it lists how much is spent, the names of the companies, the beneficial ownership. And again, the Attorney General uses a legal sleight of hand to say, because the competent authority didn't officially waive the procurement practices, then he doesn't have to provide the information. Now, I find it very concerning in a pandemic like this, and when you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars in public funds being spent, we're hiding behind these technicalities. Just last week, the deputy leader, brought to the public's attention that the government was in breach of the Fiscal Responsibility Act by not giving a pre-election report. And I see they hurriedly scrapped together a report and published it, I think it was yesterday or the day before. And so, Chester, yes, there's a lot of pretty reports and charts, and people might look at it and not even go deep into it. But I think in terms of not providing the beneficial ownership information for the IMF loan, not providing the reports to Parliament as required under the emergency orders, and not providing the pre-election fiscal stance until they were embarrassed into doing so by the deputy leader. I think that really shows this government's attitude towards accountability and transparency. They'll hide behind a technicality, and if they can't, then they'll scrap something together and put it out.
All right. We need to take a break, but let's take this call very quickly, and then we'll take the break. Good morning, caller. You're on Morning Blend.
Good morning, Mr. Dwight. How are you?
Doing well.
And good morning, Mr. Halkitis and Mr. Chester Cooper. You all right?
Chester Robards.
Listen, Mr. Cooper, I'd like to address this to you, please.
Chester Robards, my co-host, Chester Robards.
Okay, Mr. Robards, okay. Listen, we know I was campaigning. They were promising the Bahamian people that were going to put water on the Bahamian people. They promised us a lot of things, which they never did. Now, when they came in, they went on emergency vacation. I want to find out from my party, are y'all going to put water on the Bahamian people? Are y'all going to reduce the VAT? And it's another question I would like to ask. I would like to find out if my party have a plan to build this economy, please.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Michael Alkitis.
Yes, the plan is to reduce VAT from 12 to 10%, and we have a plan to rebuild the economy. Tune in tonight on ILTV at 8 p.m. You'll see the economic summit where the leader, the deputy leader, various candidates are speaking about different elements of the plan. It will give, as I said, give an opportunity for Bahamians to see not only that how we plan to implement it.
All right, somebody's asking on our text line. I mean, you've said that before. There's going to be 1 year, but What can we expect realistically after that 1 year, that first year?
Well, Dwight, what happens is this. It's not unusual for governments to say we will put in a certain tax policy for a certain period of time and then review it at the end of that time. What has happened? We do it all the time with the City of Nassau Redevelopment Act, the Family Island Redevelopment Act, where we would do it every budget year. We would look at it and make any changes to it and renew it. It's the same. It's the same with this. We put it in place for initially 1 year. At the end of the year, we review it. Hopefully, we'll be in a position that we leave it at 10% or hopefully even reduce it even more. But I don't want a reduction of 12% to 10% from 1 year. It gives a lot of people a break.
Okay. All right, let's take that break now. We'll be back with more with Michael Halkitis here on Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Come on! Woo! Oh, yeah!
Pediasure, the #1 brand recommended by pediatricians, now has 33% less sugar compared to previous formula and provides 25 vitamins and minerals and 7 grams of protein kids need for a healthy growth. It's a convenient meal or snack with a delicious kids-approved taste they'll love. Pediasure, nutrition to help kids grow. Ask your pediatrician about Pediasure today.
Wake up. It's best rate, no delays. Best rate, no delays.
BTC gives more savings on the best fiber internet. It's super fast with super savings in every package. Compel. Enjoy up to 150 megabits per second plus 157 TV channels and unlimited home phone minutes for only $99.99.
Best rate, no delays.
Visit a BTC store to sign up for the best internet experience on the Bahamas' best fiber network. Conditions apply.
Be prepared for the rainy season with an RBC loan to fund your rainy season essentials. For hurricane shutters, generators, solar power systems, or general home repair, RBC offers a range of flexible and competitive financing solutions. Let us help you get started at rbc.com/Caribbean/get-a-loan. Special conditions apply. Reimagine your rainy season readiness with RBC financing.
You've tried everything. ASUS with your mother's cousin's sister's auntie, and even hiding your money under your mattress. But is your money safe? Your Bahamian dollar deposit in a member bank or credit union is insured up to $50,000. If anything happens, your deposit up to the insured value will be returned to you thanks to Deposit Insurance. Visit Deposit Insurance Corporation at www.dic.bf.
Protection for your money guaranteed with DIC.
This week, the FNM is Rolling Red in Nassau. Drive up to the Rolling Red Candidate Launch and Rally this Wednesday, the 1st of September at the Carnival Grounds, QE Sports Center, 6 to 8 p.m. It's a drive-in rally, y'all, so stay in your cars and trucks. Live entertainment featuring KB, Sammy Starr, Synovia Pierre, and DJ Tang. COVID protocols will be observed. Join the FNM this Wednesday, and let's roll red.
We coming back with the top, yeah. KB and Sting, coming with the Bohemian team. Come on, woo! Oh yeah. Yes. Eyes of a Bohemian, hair and bone and bread. I don't want to live nowhere else, even when I dead. Eyes of a Bohemian, and I always late. If you want me there by 9, better tell me come 8. See, eyes of a Bohemian, and I don't like say.
And we are back here with Morning Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards talking with Michael Halkitis, the St. Barnabas candidate for the PLP in the upcoming election. Michael Halkitis, we got a great question here. You said it earlier that you believe that external financial pressure caused the Prime Minister to call that early election. But do you think the PLP can avoid those pressures if elected?
Yeah. Yes. What you see, I think, as I said earlier, what has happened is the government has come out and said, I think they want to do a bridge financing. They wanted to do a bridge financing with some local financial institutions. We've had some public pushback from those financial institutions. They want a plan. They want a debt management, a multi-year debt management plan, and that is something that we can provide. And as well, when you need to go to the international markets, you need to demonstrate that you have a plan for the economy and a credible plan, because those people, when you go to particularly, well, locally as well as when you go to international investors, they want to be able to dissect your plan and see how credible it is, because their interest to pay them back their money. And so I think, what needs to be done is you show the financial community, local and international, with a new mandate. This is our plan. It's a multi-year strategy. This is how we're going to gradually rebuild our economy. And I think we can do that. We've done it in the past.
Chester?
We seem to publish figures, and a lot of people question this, about our economic growth that seems to be a little wild. And a lot of international firms don't think that our economic growth is going to look the way we've published. What does the PLP think?
Well, I said that, I had the same issue, Chester. When you look at what is being forecasted for global economic growth, what's being forecasted for the U.S. and our neighbors, and then we have in this budget that this government says our economy is going to grow by 14%. Now, it's good to be optimistic, but you have to be realistic, because this information is not only being consumed here in the Bahamas, it's being consumed internationally. Financial institutions, rating agencies, people like the IMF, they're looking at this and they're trying to figure out, okay, what is underpinning this? You're going to grow twice the growth rate of China, which is, for a decade, at least a couple of decades, always leading the world in economic growth. So you have to be credible. And I think, again, it all revolves around election. I think that the government, the Prime Minister wanted to go even before the budget, but things changed. And so now, having to produce a budget, he wanted to show the people that, okay, we're going to have these high levels of revenue and economic growth and things. But if you really, and he is depending on the fact that a lot of Bahamians really don't drill deep into it. But those like yourself, who's in the business media and others who are in that profession, when they look at it, they say, well, listen, this is not credible. I mean, how can you forecast that you're going to double the rate of your property tax collection in 1 year, or all of these revenue projections that are quite unbelievable and incredible, in fact. And so it goes down to credibility. And you can't, when you're doing a national budget, just put numbers on a paper and to try and get to a figure that you want. You have to be realistic, and that is why I say you have to impress upon people, all people who are observing, that, listen, this is a multi-year strategy. Okay, you come in a new administration, it might not look pretty in the first year. The numbers might not look pretty. As we implement the plan and as we begin to see results, you see a gradual improvement.
With the announcement last week of the MOU between the party and the umbrella unions, a livable wage came up, and we know there's been a lot of discussion about that here, and the cost of living in the Bahamas just being just unbelievably high, far too high, and the fact that we are among the top 10 most expensive places in the world to live, not something to brag about. But we don't seem to be, at least most recent administrations don't seem to have any will, it seems, to address this issue. Will that be different with your administration if you get in the PLP? What can be done to address the cost of living in this country?
What we have to do, Dwight, we have to look at, for example, what it costs to bring things into this country. We have everything that comes into New Providence comes in one place. What effect does that have in terms of the cost of bringing goods into the country? All right, it's the cost of electricity, and that is, that contributes to the high cost for domestic consumers and for business consumers, which again trickles into prices and again the cost of living. So those are two major areas we have to look into, and we have to address it. I believe that the fact that we ship everything into here and we have one centralized port, we really need to be able to say, is this the most efficient way to do it? Are these prices the best prices that we can get? Because that adds on to the cost of everything that comes into the country immediately. All right. It seems as if in terms of BPL, which is, if you ask business people, they'll say that is their major concern in terms of cost. The whole rate reduction bond, that you hear that, line keep getting pushed back. And so we have to see what exactly is the status of that and what we can do to reduce the cost of electricity. And those are two ways to tackle it. And then you look at the livable wage. But we can't, think that we can just keep raising wages. We have to look at the actual cost. Raising wages is important, but the cost of things in this country we have to take a look at.
Mm-hmm. I've got this text here. The last days of the PLP were very grim. It seemed like every week there was a scheme to squeeze the Bahamian people for pennies they didn't have. We will probably go right back to that iron-fisted the king needs more taxes from the landowners and peasants philosophy. Next, the credit bureau, when everybody puts the fat cat's credit on the rocks. I'm not sure what that means, but nobody's trying to think and innovate their way out of the crisis. Okay, how do you respond to that? And the people who are saying that, we saw so many downgrades and so many issues internationally, administration, and we haven't had so much of that this time, even though we are in a terrible place financially. But what do you say to people who say we've been stable the past 5 years?
And I say this, and we have this this counting, right? But the first downgrade, I think it was two of them, were in December of 2012, and what the rating agency said to us was your debt was high and your growth rate was low. Now we had just come into government in May. All right, we believe that those rating agencies, they could have done that before the election. They chose to wait. They did it in December. When we went into government in May 2012, we met a borrowing resolution for $546 million. So what I'm saying is, you got downgraded. The first downgrade was 6 months after you get into power, and what they say is your growth rate is low and your debt is high. And the other came in, I think it was just before the election, and what they said was Hurricane Matthew and the fact that Bahama is just opening and it won't you won't see the results from it for another year. And so people talk about downgrades and then equate it with mismanagement, when if you look at what the rating agencies said, they said, you're impacted by the hurricane, and because Bahama went through that protracted bankruptcy, that is going to affect your rating. And so going forward, we haven't seen any action from the rating agencies yet. Perhaps after the election, you'll see them come out, and then you'll have some people who will say, oh, that was done under the PLP, which I think is unfair. I think we need to look at the whole history of these things. And you'll see that, quite frankly, our economy has not been growing very well for 20 years, and our debt has been going up. And so, we move out of these particular categories. The fact of the matter is, what we need to do, a new PLP government, come in with an economic plan, implement it, impress upon people, all observers, that this is a multi-year strategy, and that we're going to be focused on the greater participation of people in this economy. And again, I just want to encourage everyone, listen to the plan. It's going to be on our news as well as ILTV and Facebook tonight at 8 p.m. Keep an open mind and listen to the plan. I think it's a way better alternative than in this election cycle and what we're seeing from the opposite part, from the governing party right now, which is basically attack the PLP and not really bring forth plans that people can look at. I hear the texter and all of the points they make, But I just encourage people to not get into this, okay, how many downgrades there were, and let's really look deeper and see what happened. It's not because of mismanagement and malfeasance. It's because of circumstances that were particularly stated in those reports.
I know we don't have you for much longer. Just a few more
All
questions.
right.
Would a PLP government, this is a text, would a PLP government join the WTO? And would you allow or renew licenses for oil drilling?
I don't even think, does the WTO still exist? I think the momentum
I think it does.
that, it still does?
Yeah.
That's not part of our agenda at all. We've seen the, I mean, this has been on the table and been bandied back and forth for, must be at least 10, 15 years. And we've seen the response of the people. There's not a big appetite amongst the Bahamian people to join. That will not be on our agenda at all. And the other question was renew licenses for oil drilling. I think those have expired. The people have said what they think about it. I don't think, and as well, I believe the company that was doing the drilling said they didn't find anything. So I think that case is closed.
Chester, they still have an option, right? Is that right?
Yeah, they do. They still have an option.
So
Who knows?
One more option.
They still have bills to pay too.
But they said they didn't find anything. So, I mean, if they didn't find anything.
They said they got to keep drilling.
Oh, no. I mean, we're not here for experiment. They said they went through all of that. It was a very emotive issue amongst Bahamians. So my view is that they've done it. They say they didn't find anything in commercial quantities. That's the end of the story.
But is that the view of the party as well? That people say that is it now? It's
I can't
over.
speak for the party on that point, but I'm pretty sure. I mean, our position was they have to explore. They've done the exploration. The exploration is finished. That's the end of the story.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you about the campaign, how you feel it's going. St. Barnabas, there was a text here about why you didn't insist on running again Golden Isle since you are beloved there. But how is St. Barnabas? How is it going so far?
It's going very well. Many people don't know that I grew up in St. Barnabas on Market Street. I had the pleasure of nominating on this past Friday at Yellow Elder Primary School, which is where I did my primary school education. So it's a homecoming of sorts for me. What we have been doing is just going house to house on every street, speaking to people, hearing their concerns, and putting that and bringing that back to my own plan for the constituency, and as well making sure we integrate that into the party's strategy. As you know, it's in what some people call an inner city community, some people call a heartland community. It's one of our traditional communities. The working class neighborhood. People have been particularly hit by the shutdowns and the impact on the tourism economy. A lot of hotel workers, restaurant workers, workers in things, the hair braiding and the straw market. So they've been tremendously hit. And so what they need is immediate relief. And, many of them have decided that they're going to start a little their own business. And so they need support with that. Top on my agenda is, we need to reinstitute the Urban Renewal Small Home Repair Program to improve living conditions. We think that was a good program to help people, particularly elderly people and the indigent, to repair their homes where they couldn't afford it themselves. Unfortunately, we have the Coconut Grove Clinic, which is an institution in the constituency that's been shuttered for years, not been repaired. And, you see the result of that right now with COVID. You could have had a clinic right in the community where people can go and get their basic health care, particularly the elderly and children. We're committed to get that repaired and open back up. And, we have to make sure that we put back in place a vibrant urban renewal program by whatever name we call it, to make sure that we engage all the young people in that constituency. Unfortunately, we've seen over the past few months an upsurge in violence. And I think, you combat that by, addressing the immediate situation, but then also making sure that you have alternatives for these young people to get involved in, including, all the things that urban renewal used to do, and added emphasis on things like training, making sure kids who had dropped out of school have the ability to go back and get their education, support them in their entrepreneurial dreams. So I feel good. We've been working for at least a year. Very, very good about our prospects there in St. Barnabas. I love the people of Golden Isles. They elected me twice, once as Adelaide, once as Golden Isles. But as you know, Mr. Miller, who was the former F&M MP, joined the PLP, became the PLP MP. And so the party decided that he will continue to run there. I support him. I endorse him 100%. I invite people to vote for him. And I'm happy where I am. This is, like I said, it's a homecoming for me, and it gives me an opportunity to serve the community that I grew up in New Providence.
Well, thank you. We wish you the best, and thank you so much
Thank
for
you
being here
very
with us this morning. Hopefully we can have you again on soon.
Thanks a lot.
But Michael Halkitis, great stuff. Thank you.
Thanks, Chester.
All right.
Thanks, Dwight.
All right. We are a little past the news break. Let's take that break, and we'll come back and pick up our discussion in Morning Blend Business. We're going to talk more about what we're hearing so far from the political parties about the economy and what's happening as we approach Election Blend on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with us.
It's Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas. This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Wake up, it's a new day. Wake up, it's a new day.
And good morning and welcome to Morning Blend Business on this Tuesday, August 31st, 2021. Welcome back to our Morning Blend listeners. And once again, I'm Dwight Strachan, joined by Chester Robards on this Tuesday morning. I want to thank Michael Halkitis for sticking around for a little bit longer earlier. But this morning, we are going to basically continue that discussion. Come out with their blueprint for change, and they've talked a bit about their plan to rescue the economy. And we're going to go through some of that this morning. And want to hear from you about what you hear, what you've heard so far from the PLP. Of course, they're having that economic summit they're having tonight. And we'll probably have more to tell you about that tomorrow. But what you're hearing from them and from other political parties so far this campaign season. Have you been hearing anything much from others so far this season, and what that says to you and what you want to be hearing? What would you like to hear? Are some of the suggestions that we do get very vague, too vague? Do you want more specifics? Do you want firmer plans from these parties on what they plan on doing, or if they're just going to wing it when they get into office? So that's what we're going to talk about today. All right. So, and you can call in, like we said, we want to hear. Maybe you're in Halkitis. You want to talk about that as well. Let's get your views in there. 323-6232, 325-4316, 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 422-4796. All right. So with their blueprint, this is our blueprint for change. The PLP releasing this on Friday night. There is a section on the economy. It's part of the 10-point plan to recover, rebuild, and revolutionize the country. And the section on the economy, rescuing the economy. Let's read some of these points here. It says the PLP will strengthen the economy with a laser focus on economic growth. Number one, economic reforms. Immediately began a comprehensive review of the taxation regime in the Bahamas, which they've talked about quite a bit, reducing VAT to 10%. We're told that would be for the first year, and then they'll reevaluate it afterward. And additional VAT relief. That's that's the one with the big question mark. A lot of people like, what does that mean? But as Michael Alkita said, they will evaluate and see how things go. But Jester, I'm sure a lot of people would love to know what that means. Additional VAT relief. Transform the tax system to make it more equitable and progressive and to encourage national growth and prosperity. Create a model for international infrastructure funds with private sector participation through public-private partnerships for infrastructure facilities and air and seaports. Then under the section Stabilize Public Finances, there is cause an immediate full assessment of the true state of the economy's finances to be carried out. Prioritize increasing revenue, and that would include revive the Revenue Enhancement Unit, comprised of independent professionals to ensure everyone pays their fair share of taxes. Ensure high-end properties pay their real estate property tax. That's been a major challenge. Ensure commercial and foreign-owned properties are on the register, and properly valued for tax purposes, and collect revenue from international overflights and currency overflows through buy local initiatives. Under the section Fiscal Responsibility, we're told it would stop financial leakage in our public sector, including insider deals. And through fiscal consolidation and modernization of infrastructure, deliver public goods and services in an efficient, transparent, and accountable manner. And with debt management, cause a comprehensive debt schedule showing payments due, principal and interest, on both foreign and Bahamian dollar outstanding debt on day one. Engage the debt management committee with a private sector component to review and restructure loans where appropriate on day one. And engage international multilateral financial institutions, example the World Bank, for low-interest borrowings. Focus on public-private partnerships and project-specific funding. Okay. And then there's Bahamas Invest. It says that refocus Bahamas Investment Authority as a nimble promotional arm. Bahamas Invest will focus on attracting investments in industry across all sectors, attract foreign direct investments, enhance Bahamas Invest to fast track and promote a new model of foreign direct and domestic investment, establish an investment compliance unit to ensure that international investors comply with all of their obligations under statute and heads of agreement, expand the role of Bahamas Invest to include a domestic investment board to support Bahamian businesses in participating more fully in tourism value chain, equip and engage embassies, consulates, and diaspora to assist in promotions, partner with international organizations for business, cultural, tourism, educational, and humanitarian exchanges, and implement a competitive, robust residency by investment program in line with international best practice. So they're saying, and there's more. Let's take a look. Also, there's ease of doing business. We know that's a major challenge. Enhance the ease of doing business in the country. Revamp and streamline processes at Bahamas Investment Authority, Registrar General, Department of Inland Revenue, and other agencies to become one of the most business-friendly countries for local and foreign investors. And in financial services, leverage niche and avoid industry disruption, and including adverse listing. Repeal the Commercial Enterprises Act and grant work permits where no qualified Bahamian can be found. Take immediate steps to clear all pending matters to be removed from blacklists with proactive future monitoring. Work with the BFSB and industry partners to progressively harness profitable niches in the financial services industry, including but not limited to fintech, tech, blockchain, and cryptocurrency, and equip and engage embassies to proactively mitigate against adverse listings. And then there's talk of a new tourism model here. They go into detail saying revamp the tourism model to harness the power of culture, including community-based creative entertainment, heritage, sports, religious, educational, including English as a second language, ecotourism, and medical tourism. Our plan for each island will focus on the island's niche in the tourism market to promote its unique opportunities. No island will be left behind. Provide access to capital for Bahamians to establish boutique hotels, Airbnbs, cottages, fishing lodges, and other tourism products. Amend the Hotel Encouragement Act to better incentivize Bahamian-owned and joint venture boutique hotels and reposition Bahamas Air to service international routes, improving airlift with load share agreements. So, some of these things we have been doing in the past, in recent years, not some of them not as much as we had been doing in the past. But what are your views on what you hear here? And
well, I think you said it just now. A lot of those things are already in play, right? Done by this present government. And then other things are a bit ambiguous. Of course, you can only say so much in a bullet point list, and you might hear a lot more about it tonight, as Michael Halkitis kept talking about with the economic report.
Right.
But I mean, a lot of the new tourism model thing, it sounds cushy, but really a lot of those things are being done right now. A lot of those things have been tried. I don't know what happened to them. I don't know if they have a better way of doing it now. Like breaking out the family islands into their own kind of niche markets.
Yeah.
You know, that's been tried. And I think even now they do it for themselves.
Which they should.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're a big proponent of that. You know, things like this whole transform the tax system to make it more equitable and progressive, right? They talk about immediately beginning a comprehensive review of the taxation regime, but that's already being done. It should have been started already, right? So that's not something that you're bringing that's new.
Yeah. And we
collect revenue from the international overflight fleet. Why
Yeah.
do you need to say that? It's supposed to be being done right now. I don't.
And the stuff about real property taxes, right? Making sure people pay them, right?
And you've had that on your plate, like other governments, for decades.
Yeah. Highlighting it more.
You're not a new government,
right?
Really?
Yeah. Absolutely right.
It hurts the mind sometimes if you're a Bahamian who's been through so many governments. It's just kind of like, yeah, but you've had this on your table before. Why didn't you deal with it then? Is it just that you didn't care then? You didn't have the means then? You didn't have someone who gave you a solid plan for it then? I'd love to hear those things because this New Day slogan really is an old day with a couple of new people.
Oh dear. Well,
it hurts. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause I've been in journalism for years now, right? And I've covered a lot of this stuff. I talked to Michael Halkitis when he was Minister of State for Finance about a lot of these things before, and it just rocks my brain that now it's in the New Day plan.
Yeah. So politics buzzwords.
Yes.
Essentially, that's what this is all about.
Absolutely.
Yikes.
And it's the same for everybody.
For everybody.
It's politics in general.
Yeah.
Across the globe, I'm sure.
Yeah. Everybody loves orange economy now. I mean, this orange is like their favorite color. Everybody's talking about it. But finally tapping into the culture.
Creative industry.
Creatives, yes, the creative industries.
Those people who've been shouting and crying for you.
Decades about how this is the way, this is it. This is the opportunities for young people who are just walking around aimlessly, but they all have so many talents that need to be harnessed. If we just give them some opportunities or make it easier for them to make their own opportunities, and people just been go get a job in the bank or in a hotel.
Yeah, but you know what the problem is? I think the PLP. So things like this, the PLP did that when they were in power, right? This Junkanoo Carnival thing was like, all right, boom, we got it. That orange economy. But then they kind of bashed it in the head by spending a bunch of money on it and not seeing much of a return.
Yeah. and eroded a big part. I don't know if it's entirely their fault, but the culture, our culture, got a little lost in the shuffle. So it was
right. So we saw
it felt like something else.
We saw Bahamians
importation
producing soca music, what people would call soca music, and not quite that Bahamian flair that we all know to be Bahamian music.
Right. So in creating a cultural experience, we lost a bit of our culture in the shuffle there. So hopefully,
I think some good things came out of it, though.
Perhaps. I think people are thinking more along those lines now and trying to find ways to be more authentic.
Right.
It seems, but we'll see. We'll see. All right. So let's hear what you have to say. We've got some calls coming in, and you can call us 323-6232, 325-4316. 325-4259. Tweet us, Facebook us, text us, 4224796. Again, we're going through right now the PLB's plan. We applaud them for at least putting something out there. The others haven't seen much, even though this is just bullet points. But again, we might hear more tonight. But what about the other folks? All of these many other parties, new ones popping up every day. Where are your plans, really? Where are they? All right, let's go to the phone lines. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Hello.
Caller, hi, good morning.
Morning, how you doing?
Doing well.
And good morning to your calls. Dwight, and this plan, the Funky haven't heard anything about how they're going to provide jobs for folks with disability. This corona shows that everybody from work in office place had to go work home. I'm correct? Most majority of them during the corona.
Quite a lot of people
right?
did. Yeah, quite a lot of people, yes.
Yeah, the majority around the world, including the Bahamas. But folks who are qualified, they were actually saying back then, well, we can accommodate you because our bill is not accessible, so you're qualified. Even some places, even the Guardian media. But now you have the opportunity to hire folks at home and do their job from home. Majority of telecommunication folks disabled and qualified in that area could have worked at home. Majority of telecommunication folks working at home. And some of them saw horrible in some cases working at home. But the point is, it now can be a point that you cannot discriminate. So what I like to say, what I like to hear, in this PLP plan and other plans like you mentioned, right? How you gonna equalize people, even with folks with disability? That hasn't been done yet in our country. Though we passed the bill, equality of work, equality of the economy, having came to the table and not in this election being placed on the table, right? Don't talk about equality. And you can't talk about folks with disability, folks who become disabled, folks who are qualified, became disabled and paralyzed, still can work, Jeff. Right? Still can happen. But nobody talking about it. Not even the media talking about it. I'm thank God I'm finally able to mention it. So I want the PLP to listen to me. What can you do for folks with disability who are qualified to work? It still can work. Have a good morning, Dwight.
Okay, very good question. Yeah.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. And I hope the private sector is listening too. Because I'm sure they need to hear that.
More than most.
More than most. More than the government, actually.
Yeah, I think the government's doing a better job. Definitely. Yeah, great question, especially as you said, if you're qualified, then what's the excuse? What's the excuse? Now, especially. All right. Let's take another call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, sir. Good morning to all.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, sir. I pick a few points from this plan, right? One, public-private partnership. That's just another name for privatization. And
for what,
everybody
sorry?
talks about that. Be it the FNM has talked about it. Everybody at the end has talked about it. And then the next one, you're going to review the taxation. Man, everybody know what equitable taxation is. Everybody know that we need income tax and corporate tax. And then you're in the same instance, you're saying you're going to reduce by the 10%. And further, I don't know, some other thing about VAT. I guess, work exemption or something like that. That's it's the same rhetoric. Nothing changed.
Okay.
Another
thank
thing
you.
about foreign investment. Come on, man. What could you do about foreign? That's all everybody been doing it. Everybody been doing foreign investment. Now, what other way you could do foreign investment? That's another form of plantations. More plantations. Nothing changed. The same old policies.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. I think the word that he said first was privatization. That's what. Yeah.
I mean, but that's how I feel like most Bahamians should be as frustrated as that caller, right? It just feels like every political party rings your head with this, saying it to you as it is a new package. But it's the same old stuff from 10 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Let's see. Let's get some of your text messages, and then I want to read another part. There's a specific part in the Blueprint for Change about the orange economy, Chester. This person says here, that's just a wish list. That's all. How are they going to achieve it? We have a ballooning debt and deficit and stalled revenue growth. So how are they going to pay for these projects? What expenditure will they cut? And what taxes would they increase to fund these grandiose ideas? This is what we need to hear and not some flashy wish list.
But that's the scary part, right? Where's money going to come from? And like we asked Michael Hughes earlier, do you believe what the country's finances look like based on the reports that have come out? And he's like, no, we don't believe it. So in the government, if the PRP is successful, if they come in, what are we going to hear after that? Oh, we didn't know what we meant, what we were going to meet. Yeah. Now we can't fulfill some of these things because the F&M did this and the F&M didn't do that.
Yep, the empty cookie jars. And
every single time.
Every single time. Boy. But then this goes back on them, though. This is what all these committees in the House are for, to keep them accountable and to ensure that there are these big surprises when you get in there.
And the question, are they going to use them?
Right.
Are they going to keep the fiscal reforms, like the reports, et cetera? Are they going to improve them? Are they going to keep those coming out? Yeah. If those disappear, we're going to question you even more. But, after they empower, they don't care about questions.
Yikes. This text here, a new day sounds like the same thing Columbus said to the Arawaks. Oh boy. Okay.
It was a new day. It's a little overcast, but it was new.
Oh dear. This one says here, is Chester campaigning for the F&M? I thought that the media is supposed to be neutral. Oh boy.
Have they been listening?
I don't think that's what he's doing. I think he's just expressing the frustration that many voters feel when we hear these plans and or promises, and then it's the same thing we've heard before or a variation, and the reality is often quite different. All right, before we take the break, let's look at this part here. The creative industries, we talked about it. There's a whole section on this in the Blueprint for Change. It says here, as a key component of our economy, we will create a new economic model for culture and the creative industry in the Bahamas. Leverage the benefits of tourism by creating a unit of visitors interested in culturally immersive experiences. The PLP will ensure that Junkanoo, Rake and Scrape, folklore, and folk art are provided with resources to strengthen the cultural industry that will empower Bahamians to earn a living from what they love to do. Attract and host major international events and festivals, example, Carafesta. Remember that? I think it was, 2 times we've tried to host it?
Yeah.
And, it's never quite worked out for us. Another one, establish a national recording studio and national performance arts center through public-private partnership.
Another one?
Well, we definitely tried to do the Performing Arts Center before, and that didn't quite, But it's needed. It's desperately needed.
Man, because like everything, we throw a bunch of money at it, and there's no plan to keep it up.
Yeah.
We're like, here, we did it. Now what?
boy.
The building's falling down. You don't do any maintenance on it. Just like a bunch of the government buildings for years and years and years.
Yeah. Is that sure? Is that still there?
I think it's on one leg.
What's been happening in there in the last year and a half?
The rats have been performing. I don't know. I have no idea.
Anyway, it goes on to say, encourage productions to showcase Bahamian creatives for locals, tourists, and global consumption. Promote a virtual showcase of performances, exhibitions, and virtual tours of creatives and historical and heritage sites. Renovate and resource the National Center for Performing Arts, Shirley Street. Oh, look at that. There we go. All right.
See? Now, how much is that going to cost?
It needs a lot of work.
Yeah.
Okay, so when it says establish a National Performing Arts Center, is that the same as the National Center for Performing Arts?
It's like the...
Which are they going to renovate?
It's like the People's Front of Judea and the Judean People's Front. Two different groups.
Oh, boy. Okay. Interesting. Anyway, provide subventions for existing studios. Really? Yeah. Another one. There's much power in the cultural and creative community that can cause the Bahamas to tap into this authentic opportunity. We must support our creatives. Create a 52-week event schedule with major world-class events every quarter for year-round opportunities. That was the plan a few years back. That was what we did. Now, unless they are suggesting that the current administration has walked that back, which is likely because it does seem like there were fewer things before the pandemic. At least there were more private events. Let's put it like that. Okay. Anyway, market Bahamian culture as the main tourism product with cultural ambassadors to promote the Bahamas around the world. Use Junkanoo culture to drive export. Provide educational and training resources in Bahamian creative industries. Establish a tertiary school of visual performing and recording arts in public-private partnership. Okay. That is also desperately needed. Haven't heard too much. I don't think I've ever heard. Have you heard an administration say they would do that? I know that many people in the arts have called for that and wondered why we don't have that.
Yeah.
I know we talked about that a few months back on the show when there was a school that renamed their arts department or drama department. I think they did. Did they rename it Sidney Poitier? Anyway, I was saying we should have had a Sidney Poitier school of the performing arts. That would have been something.
Long time.
Right? Anyway. Create a shared workspace environment for creatives that allows them to share their work as a public-private partnership. And someone says, in heads of agreements where applicable, ensure that Bahamian creatives are provided opportunities and incentivize creatives to obtain intellectual property for their creations and to negotiate contracts with international distribution platforms. Create a paradigm shift for Bahamian creatives with reduced taxes for supplies required to execute their work. Wow, okay. And they say this includes music artists and producers, visual artists, sculptors, costume producers, artisans, photographers, authors, graphic artists, fashion designers, comedians, creative directors, DJs, interior designers, videographers, filmmakers, brand developers, okay, choreographers, dancers, tattoo artists, historians, storytellers, hosts, like Guardian Radio hosts, okay, yay, MCs, architects, marketers, public relations professionals, product developers, sound engineers, audiovisual poets, actors, models, culinary arts, 3D modelers, 3D print specialists, animators, art directors, game technologists, museum technologists, projection mapping artists, sound designers, theater technicians, virtual reality technologists, visualization experts, web designers, writers, and publishers. So I think that is everybody.
Everybody. Yeah.
That's everybody. All right. That sounds beautiful. Got a lot of reaction to this. Is that another call there? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning to you, Dwight, and to you, Chester. I want to go back to two of your previous calls, but just before I said, where you just began to describe what is called the orange economy, often referred to as the creative, is one of the greatest assets that we have as we move into the new global digital economy. Now, that's a big D, because oftentimes when people talk about the digital economy, there's a small d and there's a big D. The global economy is more of the big D. If you recall, at over a year, we've been waiting for a response from June to now, from last year June to now, recovery committee that actually touched on, identified simply that we were going to go into the green, orange, blue, conceptual, digital, and knowledge economies. We have yet to see that particular plan being released or announced beyond this announcement that was given. But when you look at the Progressive Liberal Party economic plan along with their blueprint for change, I think these are huge potential for Bahamians to basically diversify. And I think if we understand, and because oftentimes people give a lot of lip services to these various definitions, and if we actually understand each one in its own economic silos, and look at the 6 different economies, and then look at the sub-economies that comes under each of them, we could very easily create the 90,000 jobs that we need. The problem is that we often read these manifestos, then we sit around and wait for a small select group of people to execute it, as opposed to becoming economically enticed to want to know more of what's in individually and collectively. Let's use an example, your caller who said about the disabled individuals. This is one of the greatest failures, I think, of this administration, is the Ministry of Education. And I don't care how it is marketed. It has failed and it's collapsed. Are you there?
Yeah, we're listening.
Yeah, it's failed and collapsed. Here's why. This was the greatest shift in global history. And we failed to create a rudimentary system for exchange of information between our younger generations and even those people in the workplace, as well as the handicapped people or whatever you want to call them. Because this is the greatest move towards the knowledge economy and the other type of economic models if you understood what they are. So what we did is we came up with a facade to pretend we have this education system that's able to create the shift of the skill sets, of the new skills and everything else. And so if we actually fix an actual digitized education system for delivery, we could then begin to actually people but share the information that's necessary for them to be properly prepared to go into these economies. So I see a huge potential if the Progressive Liberal Party accompanies this plan with a corrected education delivery system, as opposed to the facade that we have here, calling it e-education or whatever it is that we want. And so, but even when you talk about the other caller where he spoke of the foreign investment, yes, we've done it wrong. We've been calling foreign ownership foreign investment. But what happened in this exact same shift is the unique opportunity for Bahamians now to reach global resources. So we can now move to owning the economies using these various models that we have. But again, it requires a quick, rapid education system on breaking them down, breaking on the subcategories, etc. I would tell you that 80% or 90% of the current administration does not understand this. Personally, for you guys have heard me advocate over the years, even when the PLP was in power, I think re-electing this government will authenticate what they're doing because they will believe they are doing it right. And I think for me personally, and I think for the rest of the Bahamians, we should at least at minimum consider a change of government and capturing the new government on day one to making sure the things they promised are done, as opposed to waiting for them to do it. And I'm just saying, we are in a crisis. You guys have heard me say this over and over again. And this is the greatest opportunity, and the doorway is opening for a new shift of economic dynamics in the Bahamas. And if we miss this opportunity, we will pay for it in decades. And so I'm simply saying the problem is not the FNM. The problem is the leader of the FNM. And if they don't change the leader, I honestly believe we as Bahamians must change away from the FNM and look at the things that the PLP has put on the table. When they do, we could come back to the conversation hopefully in the next 2 weeks. But as it stands right now, I believe the plan they put out is an excellent one.
All right, interesting comments there. Thank you very much, C. Allen. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, I'm going to get to some of your text messages and also what the PLP's plan says about the green economy and cannabis.
If you'd like to make a call.
And sports as well, right? So we're talking about the plan and the economy and what this party is saying and getting your reaction to it as well. This is Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Stay with me.
When records get their hit me, man, I feel it in my bones. So much love for the culture, can't leave it known. Can take a trip to an old island, can jump aboard Bahamas there. Grab my drum and I'll grab my saw. Can't miss no festival this year. No! Some say it's magical, some say it's musical. Come get your belly full of Bahamian culture.
You invest in your children, your home, and your community. But are you investing in your financial future? At CFAO, we specialize in investment management, retirement planning, mutual funds, and private wealth management. Our team of experts never stops helping you plan for tomorrow. Because tomorrow begins today. Call us at 502-7010 to see what our financial advisors can do for you. CFAO, growing wealth for future generations.
Jamal, you just sitting there, drinking coconut water and smiling. Do you realize the children's school fees are due?
Yep.
And you know we gotta fix this roof, right?
Uh-huh.
And the house insurance is due again.
No problem.
No problem at all.
Honey, relax. I went to B.O.B. It's all taken care of.
Apply today for a B.O.B. consumer loan or switch and save on your mortgage with B.O.B. Your bank of solutions. Terms and conditions apply.
Wait, you know what going down tomorrow?
Nobody, what happening?
Joe bringing these knives to school? He could do Junior in.
For what?
Wait, he fooled with Joe girl.
Mother sick. And you know Junior don't back down for nothing. So that means you got a big fight tomorrow.
So whose side you want?
Side? I trying to stay in school, not Simpson Pen. We gotta tell somebody about this fight.
Tell somebody? I ain't no snitch. I mean cool, you know.
Wait, if you so cool, then you need to stay in school and stay out of the fight.
Yeah, but if I don't hang on Joe's side, how many boys coming for me next?
Alright, so we definitely gotta tell somebody. We gotta prevent the fight.
What I say, I don't want nobody call me snitch.
We could just call Crime Stoppers. You could report what you know, and nobody gotta know it's you.
So how did I avoid?
All you gotta do is call them, or you text them through the Crack Crime Bahamas app, and nobody can know it's you.
Then the police come looking for me for more info, and when they finish with them, Joe them coming looking for me?
When you call Crime Stoppers, the call go directly to Miami, and they don't ask nothing about you. Then if you get the pen from them,
plus everything's scrambled, so nobody can read what you saying.
Call 328-8477 from Nassau or 242-300-8477 from the Family Islands.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
It is time for your morning business report brought to you by CFAL. The government has so far raised $187 million from borrowing this fiscal year, chiefly through a 91-day bond issue that will be retired from the proceeds of an international bond issue. The government revealing this in its pre-election economic and fiscal update report released on Sunday. The government is looking to raise $1.8 billion to finance its activities this fiscal year, more than $950 million of which will be borrowed in foreign currency. According to the report, the 91-day bond issue raised $14 million was raised through new bond issuance. The report also explained that the government refinanced $52.3 million in maturing bonds through a combination of new bonds, $18.1 million, and treasury bills, $34.2 million, activities which do not result in an increase in the outstanding debt. The report explains that the government's foreign currency borrowing plan remains the same as outlined in the 2021-2022 annual borrowing plan. Following forecasted banking trends, private arrears continued to grow last month as more consumers fell delinquent on their loans. The Central Bank of the Bahamas reporting that delinquencies were led by the short-term arrear component, which represents those accounts for which loan payments are past due more than 31 days but less than 90 days, which grew by 10.6% to 283.1 million. On the other hand, the non-performing loan component, which represents about accounts for which loan payments are more than 90 days past due, less than a percentage point in July. Nonetheless, during the review period, banks wrote off an estimated $7.3 million in bad loans and recovered approximately $3.1 million. You can read more on this in the Nassau Guardian's business section today. And from tourism, there were 135,092 visitors to the Bahamas during the month of June, according to the latest data from the Ministry of Tourism compiled by the Central Bank. And in their economic report, the monthly Economic and Financial Developments Report for July showed that air arrivals topped out at 113,189 in June, and sea traffic expanded to 21,903, the highest numbers recorded since the complete reopening of borders and the restart of the tourism sector. In your Market Watch recapping trading on the BISX, from Monday, your market movers, Commonwealth Brewery moving 2,000 shares, closing at $5.99, up 54 cents. Consolidated 40. Emira Incorporated up 7 cents, closing at $11.53. The BISX All Share Index closing at 2,065.65, up 7.18. That's your Market Watch, and that is your morning business report brought to you by CFAL, growing wealth for future generations.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.
Check this out. When records get to hit me, man, I feel it in my bones. So much love for the culture. Oh, I just can't leave it known. Can take a trip to an old island. Can jump aboard Bahamas there. Grab my drum and I'll grab my saw. Can't miss no festival this year. No! Some say it's musical. Come get your belly full of Bahamian culture. Some get emotional, some take it personal.
And we are back here with Morning Blend Business on Guardian Radio 96.9. Dwight Strachan along with Chester Robards. Only a couple minutes left. Let's quickly look at what the Blueprint for Change talks about when it comes to everybody seems to be very excited about cannabis. Cannabis, it says that it's going to develop a comprehensive regulatory framework for growing, harvesting, and exporting cannabis so that the industry creates opportunities for many, not just a few. And that through Bahamas Invest, which we talked about earlier, encourage joint ventures in the medicinal cannabis industry. It will also ensure that all Bahamians are given full access to development and have a fair opportunity to become owners in this new industry. Well, okay. And develop robust regulations to strictly monitor and minimize the impact on the country's international reputation. Well, that'll be important. And through Bahamas Invest, encourage joint ventures in the medicinal industry. And quickly with sports, it says it's going to relaunch Sports in Paradise to encourage major international sports federations and leagues to utilize the Bahamas as a base, especially during the off seasons in their home countries. Leverage the power of the world's top athletes brands to reintroduce Sports in Paradise, attract the IAAF relays back to the Bahamas, my goodness, and encourage college and professional basketball and football to our calendar of events. Remember when we had the opportunity to host it all the time, indefinitely? And then how was that? Relays, yeah. I just watched it. Where was it? Was it somewhere in Europe a few months back?
Yeah.
Boy, that was sad. It was sad. It was painful to watch it. It was just remembering how it was. All right. This person here, the only job where one gets to not do their job, enrich themselves, steal, and still get paid. We pay them to ruin the country. Think about that. Wow, okay. That's dark. Another one, also the exploration of variations of tourism. Diversify the portfolio. This is what they want. Diversify the portfolio. medical tourism, conference tourism, sports tourism. We are ripe for this. Ripe. All right. This one says, I have no problem with the plans. It's just that the PLP as it is now don't have the will to stick to the plan. Well, we wonder if any of them do. But how do you know for sure? That is the challenge we always face. That is the challenge we always face. And I'm sure they will have the will to stick to some of them. It's just going to be, will it be the ones that we want them to stick to? And that goes for everybody.
My problem is it's the implementation plans. What is it? They got to put together these committee of their friends. Everybody does it. And then they delay and they don't, the media asks them questions and they don't talk about it. And it's just frustrating for everybody.
And we're back here in the same place 5 years from now.
Yep.
Unfortunately, well.
The F&M had a lot of promises that they didn't fulfill.
A whole lot.
A bunch of them they don't want to talk about. It's rough. It's rough. It's rough on the Bahamian people.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be it for us today. That's one of the plans. We will hope we can talk about some other ones when they become available. We will see. We will see over the next few days what happens. But Chester Robards, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yep, you're welcome.
And you'll be back with us tomorrow?
Oh, I thought I got tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you again. Anyway, talk to you tomorrow, and I'll be back with Morning Blend. Both of us will be back with more Morning Blend and Morning Blend Business tomorrow morning, right here on Guardian Radio 96.9. Everybody have a great day. Stay tuned for On the Clock with Aaron Green coming up next.
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.